Ooh. Ooh.
I see that people are already trying to guess what's happening, and I'm here for
Big fan,
it.
yeah. That tells me that there's some hype, which I am here for.
I could do with some hype. How about you? Can you do with some hype?
I could do with some hype too, yeah!
We have a blank character sheet in front of us.
Woohoo!
The character sheet has purple accents, which means that it's
this color. It's this color. It's sidereal color.
yeah.
Well, you know, the
You
maidens have different colors.
You have several books on your end of the table.
I do. I should. For those who are not familiar with Exalted 3rd Edition, oh my god, I'd forgotten. Look at this. It's half a Liz head, but it's only about a third of a Scoot's head.
How could you forget? How could you forget? That thing is massive.
That's a lot of hype. It's the color of fate. Yes, Angel Wick, great shout. I would have assumed that fate would be prismatic. Well, that's just me.
I mean, it kind of is.
That's true.
The other casts, like for instance, solar casts, all are colors of the sun.
Yeah. Right.
So they don't vary that much.
That's right. Yeah.
But
I like that they were like sun go up, sun up high, sun go down, sun not up, and eclipse.
and sun cover.
And sun cover. It's very funny.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Clinic Hours. Today we have Scott, or as the title of the stream actually is, we have Scott.
Scott! Exclamation point. Yes. Heck
Thank
yeah.
you for the
HK. Keto?
Thank you for that.
Not sure.
It's Keto Kid. Keto Kid.
Keto.
The Reckoners won the lobbying for the book color. Yeah, that's
Makes
fair.
sense too.
I also love a blank character sheet. It's full of possibility.
It's true. It's true. And I think if there's one thing that all role players have in common, although there are many different styles and there are many different player types, there's many different kinds of systems and settings and campaigns, there's one thing we all have in common. Is we all love to make characters. Am I right? At least the first one. You know. Is this Scott a well-known person? I kind of like his vibe. Great question, Nomhair. I actually stream over on my own channel from time to time on Twitch, which you can check out if you so desire.
Were you about to start saying that this is also your stream?
Wait,
Yeah,
my name's in the title. What are you talking about? Of course it is. Yeah, exactly, Splooey, exactly.
Folks, today what we're doing is we are building out Scott's character for our upcoming Exalted 3rd Edition campaign, Datafall, but it's also an opportunity to talk with you about various parts of the system. Now, we are going to be discussing a little bit about combat today. I should make sure that I print out that thing for you, which I said I would, but we'll get to that in a second.
I forgot about that,
But we're also building a character, getting to know the world that we're building a little bit, and taking your questions as well. So if there's anything that you're curious about, fire away. We'll do what we can. The only thing I'm not going to do in this particular session is we're not going to discuss the other player characters too much. We'll give a chance for those players to reveal what they're going to play soon enough. But today it's Scott. We're working on Exalted 3rd Edition, but we're taking a bit of a liberty with the setting. What are we doing?
We are going to be setting this campaign, Exalted, Datafall, as per the title below us here. We're going to be setting it in a shard of creation, which is a cyberpunk setting. Cyberpunk is a relatively common setting. I think people probably would have encountered it either through, I don't know, maybe Netrunner or through Cyberpunk 2077 and that line of games. It's a generally dystopian near future with a big focus on technology, corporate power, rebellion, humanity. I'm just listing themes from Cyberpunk now. But there you go. Is this Exalpunk? Yes. Limited nutshell. Yeah. We're gonna talk more about this Nomhair, but we are agents of fate.
Here, you keep talking. I'm gonna print this.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. And yes, there was a question earlier up from Noxumbre.
What the fuck?
I really hope people could hear that in the chat. just rolled over his computer and it started blasting music at him. That was awesome. Oh, interesting question, Angel Prime. I suppose we will see. What was I going to say about that, though? Sorry, Noxumbre, your question was whether the other two PCs are going to do their own character creations, and the answer is yes, following 2 Sundays.
Now, Nomhair, you say you're part of the Fate Corpo shame, and think you'll see that that's not quite the same as it appears at first glance.
Oh, it's a printer. That's what that sound is. Okay, cool. Ah. Interesting. I hope not, Avatar. if anyone else notices any sort of audio issues, of course, as well, please let us know. I am on a different mic from usual. Well, from usual. From Montreal by Moonlight, I was, of course, sitting over here. Oh, real brick wall was taken. How dare they? How dare they? Hi, buddy.
I was wondering. Hey, Real Brick Wall. Real Brick Wall, of course, a contributor to Exalted.
Big fan.
Always been a big fan.
Oh God! Oh, it's a lot heavier than I remember. To be
You
honest.
need to do some reps, man.
Clearly. Hilariously, I do go to the gym, but I don't work out with Exalted books, and that is the real problem.
All right. Let's get started. Let's figure out what we're doing here. One of the things that we're going to call out right away is that we are using lot casting Atemi in order to keep track of our stuff, and when we play, we'll be able to show that on screen in a very specific fashion. We'll let Kate get into that when it's her turn. But for now, we have the character sheet, the standard character sheet. You can download this from Mr. Gone in front of us. So we're going to be filling this out alongside you. Scott, you've already done some thinking about your character, obviously. So we're not going completely from scratch here, but some disclaimers. First, you're not actually locked into anything today. So we are going to have this character sheet. It's going to be there, but if you want to make changes between now and the start of the campaign, you're welcome to. You want to make changes after the start of the campaign, you're welcome to. Because it turns out that a lot of people like making changes, and you should let them.
They go, oh, I took this charm or this spell or whatever it is, depending on your system, and then they play with it and they go, actually, that doesn't do what I thought it did. And they go, that's disappointing. Traditionally, John, on RPGClinic campaigns, we usually do a 3-session kind of limit until lock.
We have a 3-session limit until like there's an encouragement towards at least the important stuff being locked.
Sure. That makes sense.
So things like if you decide that you want to play a Sidereal and then 10 sessions in, you're like, I really think this character would work better as an Abyssal. No.
That might be a bit.
It's a little hard after like 10 sessions to start making a change like that.
Just take me to hell.
But
yeah. Thank you.
In my opinion, you can change anything about your character if you're just like, this is not the way that I expected it would be.
Yeah.
Because the point of a character sheet is to play the character that you want to play. And if you discover that things aren't working the way that you'd hoped that they would, then that's an easy swap. Obviously, none of the three of you are the type to just be like, oh, well, I'm going to change my character specifically to just respec for this encounter, and then that's all I'm going to do.
Use one of your like limited respec potions in video games to be like, I know I have this fight coming up, so I may have, and then just
so
true, Gil. It's true.
Just take me to hell. So there's that. The dev for LCA has been super helpful.
So great.
Kate's been in contact already, which is really helpful for us just in how we're going to interpret it, because we're not going to take screenshots of LCA. We have other ways to display the stats. You'll see that soon. The second thing is that as we're going through here, if there's any questions that any of you have, whether it's you in the audience, whether it's you, or whether it's me, fire them out there. That's an important bit. And the last is, while we're working on this, we're also going to be discussing a bit about the setting. Now, the setting for our patrons, that's available. You can actually look at our campaign frame. It's all typed out. But that campaign frame is a living document. We are making changes to it. For instance, somebody pointed out that we were using an acronym, ICE, which is a standard cyberpunk acronym that is intrusion countermeasures. Electronics, yeah. And the thing is, right now, ICE means a different thing to a lot of people. So we're going to change that name. It's annoying.
I won't say much because we're still in discussion. We were, I mean, that is true. But also, like, just in our own private chat, there were a few like acronym suggestions being tossed out. They're pretty funny, honestly.
Some of them I actually kind of think they're adorable.
Oh, maybe that should be a Patreon post later. I'll just come up with a bunch of acronyms that are like, these are dumb. Here you go. You guys like that, right?
But there's other things
Yeah.
that could potentially be in that campaign frame that might change based on the conversations that we're having today, also based on your feedback. So if you are a patron, thanks very much. We're listening to you, and we may end up making changes depending on what you see in that document if you have questions about it. So that's the thing. So when you say it's a bad idea, it's not our fault.
Yeah. Ooh, dice, lol.
I still have my first edition Exalted dice, although not here currently. Oh, are they down here? Is that where they ended up?
Oh yeah, John.
That might
Just
be
before
where
we
it ended up.
started, John was like, "I'm looking for my dice." I'll say something just because Intimacies came up in the chat. I imagine we're gonna touch on them. I also imagine that one of the other two players is building a character who will have more to say about intimacies and social combat in Exalted. Suffice it to say that Exalted 3rd Edition has a very robust combat system based on the idea of I've quantified various things that I hold dear that are important to me, people, places, things, and concepts and ideas. And you can use those against me, much as you might do in real life if you're trying to persuade someone to help you with something or do something for you. But you can also, the player or the PC or whoever, can use them to defend against influence as well. And I only mention this because I think in past campaigns I've had a lot of intimacies. And that's because I think it would be very unusual to meet a person who doesn't have a lot of like I understand that minor is not like I like cheese, like you know what I mean, like it's a bit bigger than it's even minor is a little bigger than that, and I understand it.
That's a hell of an intimacy.
No, but you know what I mean, right? Like I think most people probably have a lot of ties and principles in their lives, and like these are exalted people. They probably have even more.
Intimacies are actually part of the requirement of creating characters. You have to have at least 4, one of which has to be positive, one of which has to be negative, one of which needs to be a tie, one of which needs to be a principal.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So there is a requirement, and you have to have at least 1 defining and 1 major.
100. Oh my god.
But yeah, the idea of intimacies is something that we've always enjoyed. We've played several campaigns in the past.
let's
We
talk
have
about that.
played Exaltwitch Nexus, which was our first. That was over on my Twitch
Your
channel,
Twitch channel many years ago.
which was a solar campaign. We played Exaltwitch Academy, which is a dragon-blooded campaign. We also played on a different channel on Beanduck's channel. We played Full Party,
Which
which was
was
a different solar campaign.
also a solar campaign, though. Yeah.
Today it's Sidereals.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're new to this. It is the first time that we've done a cyberpunk Exalted campaign, but there it is. And so that we can answer some of these questions for people right off the bat, it is still creation. The rules have not changed. There's certain aspects of the setting that is going to add some wrinkles, but people still use bows, swords, all of that. Like that has not changed. And the idea of the characters still moving about, interacting, exaltation is still a thing, gods are still a thing, ghosts are still a thing, Malpheus, all of that stuff still exists. So this is kind of like a layer that's added on top of Exalted, as opposed to changing creation so radically that it can't be recognized.
No. I just think it's really important, John. Good shout. Because like, one, this has happened to us in a previous kind of attempt at something, but also I think in general, when you often when you port a medieval fantasy game, say, into a near future setting, there's a tendency, both I think for players and maybe that's wrong, but like, there is a tendency to say, oh, instead of magic, it's technology. You know, oh, my character could control water. Okay, well now they have a piece of equipment that lets them control water. Fine. But Shadowrun doesn't do that. Shadowrun has like fantasy species.
Yeah.
And we are not doing that either. There is also, I mean, magic is the wrong word, essence.
Yeah.
Essence still exists. It is not being replaced by technology.
That's right.
Wholesale.
So certain campaign frames that you might have seen, for instance, Daggerheart has their mainframe campaign where they basically retitle a bunch of things to say, this is now actually that. We're not doing this. The idea that if you are one of the Exalted, you did still exalt. You still have control over essence. It's not, I've hacked the mainframe and therefore I can run across everybody's heads, right? Monkey leap technique is still monkey leap technique, and it is not, I'm in the Matrix and therefore I have changed the way things work. There was a question just up here, which is came from, let's just see here, from Noxumber, which is, does Exalted want you to typically lock into one category, or is it more like World of Darkness, being this is a vampire game, this is a werewolf game? So there are different splats in Exalted. However, that was one thing that we were dealing with when we were considering what game to play. The different Exalt types are of different power levels. The most powerful Exalted are the Solar Exalted. And that's kind of undisputed. Just pound for pound, a Solar Exalted is going to be more powerful. Then you have, they're part of the Celestial Exalted. That includes Lunars, Sidereal. You can add some others. We're just going to go with the basics for now. But then the Dragon-Blooded are not as powerful, pound for pound. There are just a lot of them. And they're currently in control, which gives them some advantages politically and the like. So, in general, when you're mixing splats in Exalted, it can get a little tricky because at some point, one character might end up just being much more powerful than the rest. In fact, it's often described that if you're playing Dragonblood, you should probably start at Essence 2 instead of Essence 1, right? Just to give you that kind of leg up, but eventually you're gonna get outstripped. We're all playing the same splat, which is why we're playing Exalted 3rd Edition.
I was going to say, there is an edition of Exalted that specifically was made for cross-splat play. I mean, not specifically, but like, in addition to being a lot more streamlined than 3rd.
So, Exalted 3rd Edition, as you saw from the size of the book, is pretty crunchy. Exalted Essence was designed to be a different way to enter into the Exalted world, and it has rules that are more streamlined. They are not fully streamlined. This is still a book with a bunch of crunch in it. Probably around the same amount of crunch as you'd find in like the World of Darkness. But this also flattens out the power curve so that each of the Exalt types can play with each other a lot cleaner. So if we were going to mix splats, we were going to consider playing Essence instead. However, a lot of our experience comes from 3rd, and we enjoy 3rd, especially the parts of it that deal with combat. So that's the one that we went with.
And reading this, which is the core book for Sidereals in 3rd edition, got us all pretty hyped. I'm not going to speak for the other two players who aren't here. I'm just going to speak for me when I said this got me very hyped.
So Requiem, that's correct. The core history and lore is the same, but with a cyberpunk flair. In Datafall, throughout the realm of creation, we had what were known as the world streams. Think of this as like broadband internet that could touch basically all of creation. The idea that everybody had access to what the Master Scrolls were. The Master Scrolls being the repository of all the information in the world that was held in the Imperial Manse. However, 5 years ago, all of the world streams suddenly ceased. The Scarlet Empress disappeared. It's a date known as Datafall. All of a sudden, the world had to deal with the fact that they could no longer access this information. People tried to get into the Imperial Manse and failed. So therefore, now individual scrolls, not the Master Scrolls, but individual scrolls, which are essentially like SD cards, SDDs, HDDs.
Containers for data.
They become much more valuable, but they have to be transported physically. They can't be transported over a distance because the world streams have cut, and people don't know why. Was it the Fae? Was it the Ozi? Did the Scarlet Empress just decide to flick the off switch? Does the router need to be rebooted?
Yeah, no, honestly, right? Like,
we don't know yet. However, it means that now transportation is at a premium, and scrolls are delicate enough that they can't be transported via air. They must be transported by sea. And so therefore, the player hub for this game is a ship.
I'm waggling
Solar
my eyebrows.
DDoS, yeah, absolutely not there. It's a denial of service attack.
Yeah. Well, this will fucking show them. Like, honestly. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So, networks still exist. We'll be getting into the realm of Civil War. So, the idea for now is that the realm all of a sudden has to spread its resources a lot thinner because they can't rely on instant communication anymore. Communication and logistics are one of the things that helps keep an empire running. And so therefore, this is becoming a little bit more of an issue for the realm. Now, our player characters, we're going to have to see what their relationship is with the realm and with the resurgence of the Solar Exalted. Are you bronze, gold faction, or have you not made that decision yet? So we're going to get into that, but I think it's time. Oh yeah, no, we've got the sale soundbite. It'll be ready. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Very important, Angel Wick. Don't worry. It's coming back.
And so, therefore, let's get started on this.
Yay!
Scott.
Hello.
Normally, we don't necessarily have to start with this, but I think we're gonna.
Oh.
We'll go straight up.
Straight to perception. Are you taking any perception, Scott?
Straight up. Do you have a character name?
I have a character name. It is Blazing Chrome. I think it's a sick-ass name.
All right. And do we want to go with concept or cast next? Let's go for concept.
Okay. I actually don't know if I ever shortened it enough. So let's just do like brash pirate. I think we can get better in the concept.
All right, well, then we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
But brash pirate would mean that you have picked a specific cast. So the Sidereals all are under one of the 5 maidens. And the 5 maidens are the elements of fate that we're dealing with. So we have journeys, serenity, battles, endings, and secrets. Which one are you?
Who are you? A chosen of battles. So, the maiden of battles, Mars, would be my connection. Yar! Blazing Crone! Oh, shit! Alright, well, hold on to that.
Zablica did call it.
Yep.
We saw it.
Nailed it. Don't worry, everybody. There will be other people kind of yeah. There's lots of. Can I just jump in real quick, John? Because I like to talk about. Sorry, not that you're not letting me jump in. Whoa, John, calm down, okay? I know you're trying to fill this out or whatever. No, I just for people in the chat, I try to find a hook and a jumping off point for my character, and it is often the jumping off point is not the thing I just did in a campaign. So for me, we played Montreal by Moonlight for 113 sessions, I think, which is a long time. Dante's
your player character.
Dante, my player character, yeah. His sort of defining intimacy, if you will, his life revolved around accumulating and sharing knowledge, information, connecting people, reaches across. And so I kind of thought, okay, well, the opposite of that, not the opposite of that, but something that would be very different from that would be someone who is less concerned with broadly spiritual matters and much more concerned with the nitty-gritty of life.
Right.
The individual moments that make up life. I say nitty-gritty, I want to be clear, Exalted is a game about big fucking things. BFTs. You can do...
Emphasis on the fucking.
Yeah, well, hey, look. That's in the campaign frame, I think.
It is in the campaign frame.
It's just it you can do a lot of big things, so it's not like he's sitting there being, I don't want my character to kind of be like, what flavor of water additive am I gonna have today, right? Like, they can still be big things, but I want him to be very focused on and engaged with the moment to moment of life and living and being kind of there. There was a question about the shirtedness of my character as well. I seem to always have characters who end up taking their shirts off, but for now, let's say fully shirted.
Fully. Oh.
That's what
Boo this man.
We'll see. But yeah, so that's I just wanted to say for everybody, like as the jumping off point for this character, that's kind of what I've always wanted to do. Yeah.
A couple of questions coming in. Are the ships in Datafall more like sailing ships or more like modern ships? They will still use the sail ability, but they are not necessarily ships that run on wind power.
Okay.
So that makes sense. Requiem asks, do you know how you'll run XP for the game? Start high and quickly lower the XP, or depending on essence, or just start at low XP gain? We are in fact doing a curve. We're going to let the characters go at a high XP, so about the highest that you can get in a session, until they hit Essence 2, at which point we have a gradual tapering off. So the characters will spend more time in the 2, 3, and 4 regions as opposed to blitzing past them as quickly as possible.
The game gates certain charms based on both ability level and essence level. So there's plenty to take at Essence 1, obviously, for sure. But while a lot of things level up about you, about your PC at Essence 2, Essence 3 is a big kind of gate for really kind of advanced cool shit. The shirt is a spectrum. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, these are great questions so far. Yeah, shirt is a spectrum. Of course.
Yeah. A moment dramatique. I like it. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
I totally get it. One time when we were still playing Changeling, I was in an airport, and these three were doing a stream where they were just talking about the campaign as it was so far, and I couldn't type in the chat for shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When the GM's away, or when the ST's away, I think we made the session. I remember that. Yeah. Good time.
We're running essentially base game sail.
Yeah. It is piloted using sail, even if it's not a sailing ship.
Yeah. We're gonna see if there's if for instance something is mentioned in a charm description that just doesn't fit, right? Like something like you can change the direction of the wind. Then at that point we'll apply a layer of flavor over top of it in order to make sure that it's the same thing, such as like you can change the direction of the ocean currents. You can energize the ion propulsion system that's part of the ship. We are going to continue using as much as possible the same charms. Now, it's possible that some charms may no longer be useful, at which point then we'll make decisions as to whether or not we need to homebrew. Mm-hmm. For instance, wireless communication is still possible in the world of Datafall, but only at a local level. So things like a walkie-talkie, that absolutely can work. But you can't communicate from one city to another or across an ocean. That's just not possible because everybody relied on the world streams in order to do it, and they haven't been active.
Whoops. Yep, which as you say, again, this is in the campaign frame, right? But the idea of like data runners or people who like run scrolls about, like it can be kind of noble because that's like a really important part of the world now in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Hashtag the last 5 years.
All right. Going back to this, we're going to leave Anima and Allegiance out for now. And the Birth Sign and Exaltation Sign, do you have those? Or is that something that you want to get into now? Or do you want to...
yes, because I've chosen them and we can kind of like touch on them briefly.
Go for it.
So there are 25 constellations, which are important to the Sidereal Exalted because the 5 maidens each contain within them 5 constellations, which kind of have purview over different parts of creation, different concepts within them. And when you do things like make prophecy, you have to tie it to a constellation, and that would affect how the prophecy kind of comes out in the wash. So what I had chosen, John, is that I was born under the crow. Coming back to Gil, that's an ending sign if I recall correctly.
Caw-caw.
And exalted under the shield. Your exaltation sign is what defines your caste, to my understanding. Yeah.
So we're getting a lot of great questions in here. So if I don't get
popular
to one,
ask
again.
2 hours, guys.
So how does the inhibition of long-distance communication affect spells like Infallible Messenger? That's just it. All of a sudden, Infallible Messenger is far more potent because it's something that's useful. Problem is, a lot of people didn't bother to learn it. Why would you need to learn a sorceress work like Infallible Messenger when you could just pick up the phone?
Yeah.
Now you can't. So people who bothered to learn that level of sorcery suddenly become a lot better or a lot more valuable. But in also a way, it puts a target on your back. Remember, if you are the linchpin that's keeping the realm running, that might mean that somebody might just decide to come up and, oops, take care of you.
A little scary. But yeah, the shield, I don't have it in front of me. I could go grab it if you wanted, John, but the shield definitely spoke to me because it was the sign of like courageous, valiant combat, but also battles for the sake of battles, fighting for the sake of fighting. Having a when you want to die. Having a death wish. So was also under the shield as well.
The crow rules the end of delusions and denial. It is a sign of slow but painless deaths, death by old age, inevitability, and the recognition thereof, ancestor worship, young widows, and the elderly. In its positive aspect, those who face their mortality take solace in gallows humor, find comfort in the thought of death, or willingly face near certain death for what they believe in. In its negative aspect, the inevitability of death drives those who confront it to despair, depression, apathy, and cynicism.
Inevitability of death. We're going to come back to that. That feels important to my character. Inevitability of death. Okay.
However, under the House of Battles, you do have the shield. Mm-hmm. The shield rules courage, the willingness to endure and inflict pain, and battles fought without regard for victory. It's the sign of warriors who fight outside of military ranks, assassins, scouts, and the Lunar Exalted. Its positive aspect governs valor in the face of danger, warriors who fight to protect their comrades in arms, and heroes who dare impossible odds. In its negative aspect, it governs headstrong foolishness, excessive self-sacrifice, thoughtless violence, and a dangerous willingness to die.
A dangerous willingness to die is amazing. Important to note, I think a lot of people in chat are already quite familiar with Exalted, but for those who are not, the Exalted are humans who were exalted. They were exalted by the various forces of creation that do so. They get their second breath and they are able to command essence, the stuff of life. You are not invincible as an Exalted. You are just very powerful compared to a person. But you can die. Of course you can die. So the idea of what you just said about a willingness to die is very interesting. Scott to a T. Yep. Incredible. Thanks, Grey Duck.
It's very Scott coded.
Very me coded for sure, guys.
All right. Let's move on to your attributes.
Hooray!
Now, in Exalted, you get a few more attributes than a normal mortal would. So what's your primary between physical, social, and mental?
It's going to be physical this time around.
We're going for it. It's
Love
physical.
That.
So let's take a look. Your strength, dexterity, and stamina.
I believe I had put them at 4, 4, and 3 because you get 8 dots in your primary to distribute when you start at 1 each. Himbo Pirate. Look, Noxumbre. We already said it can't be just me, okay? It has to be a little different. Anyway, 4, 4, 3.
What's your secondary?
Social.
And how are we doing in there?
So that was interesting because I definitely didn't want super high appearance because I feel like that's something that in Exalted the last time we played Exalted in Academy, I definitely leaned into appearance.
Pyres could be described as a himbo?
I would in fact go so far as to say that the inspiration for Pyres was what if himbo? What if himbo but Exalted? So I did 4, 3, 2, or rather 3 in charisma, 2 in manipulation, and 1 in appearance, or to add. Charisma, and this is important because I mentioned this to Liz in passing, and she was like, 4 charisma, what the fuck? And I was like, no. Yes, haha, the Riz. We talk about the Riz day to day. Charisma
that is language that I know that
is language I definitely using. Oh boy. In this game, and I think just generally as well, charisma to me is a force of personality. That doesn't necessarily mean, wow, nicest guy you'll ever meet. I think we tend to assume charisma means, wow, they're so nice. They could charm the shirt right off of Pyres, or whatever phrase the kids are using these days. But to me, this is force of personality. But yeah, there you go. That's
Very
all I
well.
want to say about that.
Which means that mental is your tertiary.
This is what I wanted.
Are we about to see a dump stat?
I'm really hoping that this is not going to absolutely kick my balls, John, so to speak. Sorry. Can I say that on stream? I think I can.
You can. You
Oh.
have a 3 in stamina. You can take a kick to the nads.
Very good.
We'll see how much resistance you buy later.
That's going to be important. But I wanted to do 3 perception, 1 intelligence, and 3 wits. Now,
So,
yeah, let's talk. Let's chat.
perception 3.
Yeah,
It's pretty good. Perception is a
above average.
It's
yeah.
a stat that in the 5th edition of the World of Darkness, perception doesn't actually exist. Neither does appearance, for that matter. In those games, it's wits, intelligence, and then resolve. And then in charisma, manipulation, instead of appearance, they use composure. Here, perception to 3 seems good.
Relatively perceptive.
Being aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Wits 3,
For
being able to
combat.
think fast on your feet, ready to react to things as they come at you. Important for combat. We'll get to that in a moment.
I was about to say, yeah.
So,
Maybe even should be a little higher, maybe, but we'll see about that.
intelligence 1.
Yes. Well, so what do I need it for? If I can see the world around me and I can think on my feet, why would I need intelligence? Again, I think where I'm coming to the character from is a place of like, I want to try playing something that's quite different from what I just played in Montreal by Moonlight. Dante had relatively high intelligence because his focus was on thinking. I was going to say conception. Sorry, that's not what his focus was on. His focus was on conceiving of ideas and solutions to problems. And I don't think this guy is going to use his mental forces for thinking through things. I think he's a lives by the seat of his pants kind of guy. Yeah. That's all I have to say about that. I understand that a 1 is dangerous. A dump stat is dangerous because there are certain things that test every ability and every attribute, and not having a high stat means that I might have difficulty with those things. But also, John, as we've famously said on this channel quite a few times, characters live both in their strengths and in their weaknesses. Building out a character, I think, means having those disparities.
Oh, I'm
Jane from Firefly. I like that, actually. That's a good...
I'm very much in favor of,
Thanks,
of
Grey Duck.
dump stats, but not for the reason that someone would call it a dump stat. I don't see you taking an intelligence 1 because
Oh,
you
no,
need
'cause I'm trying to
dump
max
stuff
out everything else.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you're interested in the challenge of this. Some questions coming in. Is Kraft going to be doing the usual stuff that would be tech stuff since there's not a technology stat? Pretty much, yes. Is this going to be my favorite character? Splooey is Scott not always the player? who
Yay,
does the basic
Splooey!
stuff?
Thanks, buddy.
We are using the 3rd edition Sidereal's book, and the 3rd edition Sidereal's book does have very specific ways in which Sidereals are identified. Not all Sidereals are identified before their exaltation, and not all of them are spirited away to Yushan. Heaven does exist in this world, and Heaven is a part of this game as well. So that's part of the character's backstory that we'd have to investigate, but not all exalted Sidereals know what their next exaltation is going to be, etc., etc. We are dealing with the 3rd edition in terms of its lore here. Let's see if there's any other questions here.
You did
just,
on
we got
here.
a lot of people.
And
coming
I
in.
said,
That's
tune
great.
in on Sunday. Oops. Hooray, everyone.
Yeah, and satellites. The idea of satellites. So technically, you can't have a satellite around creation. Creation is flat. Creation
sick.
it is flat. It is by definition flat. It is not around planets, so you can't have something orbiting it. I guess you could go like, like spinning around.
Yeah,
you, but
could just go from one pole to the other and back, and then just kind of does this.
Yeah.
I kid.
All right. So, heavily physical character
Yeah, currently.
and a
that's the
chosen
plan.
of battles. So, am I taking this to assume that you are a martial character?
I would very much enjoy. I love Exalted for a variety of reasons. I think the setting is dope as hell. I really like the idea of playing a high octane character in a world where you can do anything. And so yes, I plan on making a character who is a fighter. Because also, in RPGClinic campaigns, it's not like we avoid combat. It's a part of the games we play. And I think it's built into this game. Not all of these charms are combat-related charms. And in fact, actually, quite a few of them are not. But some of them are.
No, it's one of the important aspects of Exalted specifically. It is assumed that all Exalted at some point may have to defend themselves, and the core book does recommend that everybody make sure to take at least 1 or 2 combat charms, just so that they're not a total paper tiger.
Yeah.
But this game is designed around a lot of different things, and it's not just combat. So it isn't a requirement that everybody come in as absolute beat sticks. That being said, Scott may have decided to come in as an absolute beat stick.
That is the hope. We will see. You know how my dice luck sometimes goes as well.
So,
although actually that does bring up a mechanical point, but we'll get there when we get there.
There we go. Just so that we can see. Now, you are a chosen of battles. And as a chosen of battles, that means that you have certain abilities, which are cast abilities. Your cast abilities as battles are archery, brawl, melee, presence,
just the fighting ones. Oh, and presence,
and war.
Woohoo!
Now, also as a cast ability is martial arts, which means that we're also going to take a look very quickly over at your merits.
Whoa.
Which
Sidereals, as a group of Exalted, are known to be the masters of martial arts. Just, partially they have long lifespans, partially they train really hard, partially I guess it comes naturally to them. They have access to the most esoteric, craziest sidereal specific martial arts, but they can also learn martial arts of any group that exists. Although I would personally be a little like, how did you learn that if it was just invented by like a Death Lord like yesterday? You know what I mean? Like, how did you do that? Yeah, just a thought for me.
Now, you have 5 favored abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So these are abilities that you tend to just be better at. Buying charms from these abilities are cheaper. Increasing these abilities using experience is cheaper. Oh, Gil did ask this. We at one point did debate whether or not we wanted to go with the flat experience using the version of experience that's presented in Crucible of Legends. And our players opted to go with the standard experience and standard growth. So it was considered.
Yeah.
Your 5 favorite abilities are?
My 5 favorite abilities are, and I'm just double checking to make sure that I haven't made any silly mistake here. Yeah, we will see if these feel right after the fact, because I'm looking at them again. Craft. I'll explain. Integrity. Larceny. Resistance. And Sail. Now,
I don't have my soundboard in front of me, so I can't.
Rip. It's too bad.
Launch the.
Bye, Nom Hair. See you soon. I think. So I just want to talk through these. So these, choosing a favorite ability, as you say, it's cheaper to level them up. It's cheaper to buy charms from them, if I recall correctly, as well as what you just said. Sail is kind of essential for a pirate. I mean, true. Although, fair play, Allison. We can do whatever we want. So, it felt to me, I'll just talk through it here. It felt to me like, as someone who wants to be taking big actions, committing crimes, leaving a mark on the world, we'll get there as we get there. Larceny and Sail both felt correct, because they're what he does and how he moves about the world. Resistance felt really important from the perspective of needing to like survive taking a beating. Integrity also felt important to me because he's really dedicated to what he believes in, even if what he believes in isn't so overarching or overreaching that it kind of goes through the world here. Craft, I'm realizing now in hindsight, I feel like I favored it maybe because I wanted to level it up later for charms. I'm not actually sure. Craft is also one of those things you have to specify, right?
Yes.
You have to gain a specialty.
And what was that specification that you were going to put in?
Explosives. So this ties into larceny. To me, I understand larceny is sometimes like breaking and entering, but it can also be things like, bank jobs, taking people down. I had the concept for Blazing Chrome to be somebody who grew up in a gang, who grew up committing crimes, be they petty or large scale. And I think that would mean that at some point he would be making explosives and he needs to have them. Maybe he even has some on him as part of his character.
I know I want the meathead of the crew to be the one who's also making the bombs.
Look, he can be smart at a couple little things, right?
All
Yeah,
right.
I need to double check the craft charms though, because I'm not. I might honestly change that away from favored.
Well,
but
let's
we'll talk about it.
fill out your abilities.
Yeah.
And we can always make changes. So
Oh boy.
here, let's go.
So you can only buy up to ability 3 before you spend bonus points.
That's correct.
So I need to do a little.
So if
Little
any of
backwards.
if any of these are above 3, we'll just immediately spend the bonus points, and I will keep track of them.
Aha. Okay.
I will open Notepad here.
Dumb and Bomb have the silent B. Very good, Erigwyn. Yes, that's. We're gonna see how it goes, guys.
Okay. So here we go.
Okay. Here's how I've distributed my dots. Ready?
You have 28 dots
Yeah.
that you can distribute. So anything over 28, we'll also make sure that we calculate that with bonus points.
Yes, which I'm pretty sure I kind of went pretty hard in spending a lot of bonus points here at this point.
Go for it.
Athletics 3. Awareness 2. Brawl 4. Bureaucracy 1. Gotta have some level of bureaucracy. Craft 2. Integrity 2. Larceny 3. We're gonna, again, we'll see if this sorts out. Linguistics and lore are each at 1.
He knows how to read, folks.
Yay! Not Ray, not Ray. Martial arts 5, baby. Talk about that in a second. And then we skip all the way down to presence 3.
Oops, I don't have to skip down.
Oh no, sorry. I skip all the way down. Presence 3, resistance 4. This is crazy. Ride 2. This is insanity. Sail 3. Survival 1. And war 2. That's a lot. That's a lot of dots. That's a lot of dots. All right, I'm getting back into the chat here really quick.
I'm looking at this, and so let's do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 15, 16, 17.
Lots of dots. It's my name, actually, Erigwyn. I think that's my real name. And carousing well is out, Eremetheus, but also no performance, so no sea shanties.
So you have spent 10. You have 10 additional abilities, and I think for bonus points, your abilities are, if they are a caster favorite ability, it's 1 per dot. So
Right.
you are within your 1, 2, 3.
No
Yeah,
good
you're
sea
fine.
shanties.
So you've spent 10 of your bonus points
That's so much.
of your 15
Yeah.
on abilities. Now, I'm gonna point some things out.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna.
Wow, we got.
This,
Yeah. Let's.
This
let's
is not a
chat.
problem.
No, but
I'm
this
gonna
is good to talk. for sure.
Expand this a bit so that we can take a look at this from a slightly closer perspective here, so that people can see. We like it when people can see.
Yes.
So, here are your abilities. You've got a few.
Perfect, Alfarius. That's why we love sidereals. Who needs to persuade people in letters? Just get me into a polycule.
Zoom, enhance. So, starting off
Whoa.
here, you start with archery. Archery and melee are both cast abilities in which you have no dots.
Correct.
Now, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's not an issue
but
because you have to take one in each of your favored.
yes.
You don't have to take one in your cast abilities.
Right.
So you are already saying that for archery and for melee, the answer is no. Now we spoke about this earlier, and part of the thing that we discussed is that you like the idea of being able to, say, smash a beer bottle and then attack somebody with it. And as a weird thing in Exalted, improvised weapons fall under Brawl. So I've noticed that you've put 4 in Brawl here.
Yeah, because that feels kind of core to the concept to me. That he would have had a lot of, 4 in an ability is a very high level of like training or experience, right? Like quite rare in creation.
The Exalted, however, are not.
They're not the average
people.
Joe.
And in fact, the book specifically does say in the core, take 5s. Like it's okay to max things out. Exalted are meant to be exceptional people. Because oftentimes you'll see in role-playing games that have this kind of point-buy system that there's some hesitation to have a player be the best in something right off the bat. It means that you don't really have anywhere to go. If you started and you're already the best swords person in the entire world, then how do you have the struggle? The thing is, the Exalted are already the best, then they add charms on top of it, right?
Your character's growth is not just about going from 0 to hero. It's going from hero through a bunch of challenges, against probably equally powerful people in a different way.
Right. So the thing that I'm just pointing out here is that you have access to Brawl and you have access to martial arts. Martial arts typically is also something that you'd be able to use with your, you'd be able to use unarmed depending on the style that you've chosen.
That's true.
But I'm seeing that it's possible that you've picked a martial art that requires the use of a weapon.
I do have an idea for this, yes.
Okay. So then the idea where you may not have access to that weapon, handy to be able to also have Brawl.
Right.
But you are doubling up on combat abilities. Now, that's okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm a fan of it because also sometimes you want to punch a motherfucker, and sometimes you want to cut a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And so
I want to be in a duel or a brawl.
And while
right?
you can stunt in order to pull your sword strikes, or you can stunt in order to make lethal palm strikes or whatever, stunting is a concept in Exalted where depending on how you describe an action, you get more dice. If you describe it in a cool fashion, you can get an extra die. Describe it in a way that everyone's like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. You can get 2 dice and you recover willpower. Describe a 3-point stunt, however, that's when everybody at the table is basically just popping off and you can get a big bonus, 3 dots and 2 willpower that can even go above your maximum.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes, however, you kind of want to be able to just rely on saying like, look, I'm just going to punch this guy. It's fine. So you're comfortable with the fact that you have 2 separate ways in order to deal with the enemy, whether you are armed, your martial art, or not.
Yeah, yes, and I think, so this is something I do want to talk about because, I think there's a lot of like leeway here. Sidereals are, as I said earlier, described as masters of martial arts, like that they can learn all kinds, they have access to very, for lack of a better word, insane ones that can kind of reshape reality itself. I think that's awesome. I'm not saying that this is the right or the wrong way to play, but to me, it would feel like a missed opportunity if I wanted to play with melee weapons instead of archery or thrown. It would feel like a bit of a wasted opportunity to me to take melee instead of taking a martial art with a melee weapon.
Right.
And, and again, to each their own, I think play how you want to play. Pyres, yeah. Yeah, Pyres did not have, he didn't have martial arts. He just had melee because he used his diclaves or whatever.
Yep.
One of the
Gil corrected me about the stunt. Sorry, I'm pulling from whole knowledge.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, so one of the sort of images I had for Blazing Chrome was the idea of somebody with dual swords, which I think if this were set in a more traditional creation, might see him on the bow of a ship wielding like dual kind of scimitars or chopping blades or something. This is not that world, so those blades might look different, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But that felt like almost core to the vision for me. So I was like, so I could take melee or I could take martial arts, but I kind of want to take martial arts because it's cooler. It's just cool.
And so what martial art did you pick?
I have chosen, for now, Steel Devil style, which is in the core. There are many. There are in fact many that reference dual swords, but this was the only one that felt, again, kind of correct for me at this point.
Too small.
Full shirt but pantsless. Okay, got it, Spoolie. I'll just write that down.
So Steel Devil style.
Hell yeah.
Steel Devil style is a style that specifically means that you are using two swords.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mechanically the idea is that you like fight and charge up your killing intention in your offhand weapon. The way it's described is much cooler though. The flavor of it is much cooler, which is that you are a whirlwind of blades raining down blows that cannot be stopped, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Kung Fu Fighters, like on a ship? Yes. The
Yes.
player hub in Datafall
Yes.
is a ship. The Persistence, which we'll get into at another point. Steel Devil style is compatible with light and medium armor.
Yep.
But you can't use it if you don't have two paired swords.
Yes.
Straight up.
Which again kind of figured into my like, okay, and I'll also take a bunch of brawl for improvised weapons and in case my swords ever are taken from me. Yeah.
A himbo meathead pirate who is also responsible for the bombs.
See, this
He
is part of the
dumb
reason.
and making the bombs.
I want to say, and like, quick tangent, right? This is part of the reason that I love doing these on stream. We as a team of 4 have talked about character concepts, what we want to kind of work. We're going to continue to do that prep and that work before we start the campaign proper. But this is a good thing because when however many 20, 30 people are watching, some of them with a lot of experience in Exalted, some of you might be like, now, just a and John, you do this a lot too, which is great for me. It's like, now, hey, just a heads up, you've put a lot of dots over here, but do they do anything? Like,
well, because originally you came to me with melee, and I'm
Yeah,
like, why do you need melee
need
and
that.
martial arts? And you said improvised weapons, and I'm like, but
that's
actually
brawl.
brawl.
And I went, yes. Yeah, and I'm being reminded that there is a charm that I had on my long list, which is a battles charm that lets you apply the artifact tag to improvised weapons, which is fucking crazy.
that's so fucking
I love
cool.
that. That's so good. This chair is now an artifact. I
Just the fact that you are the one holding a broken pool cue means that it's that much cooler.
It's so good. I'm writing that down, Nemo. I had thought about it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he had brawl, melee, and martial arts.
Yeah,
and I'm
which is like-
why do you need all three? And then it turned
No.
into you could just use brawl for improvised weapons, and that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
People have asked, are you the captain?
Great question. Can we discuss
You
this
can-
at this
you
point?
can
Because
answer
there
the
are.
question.
I will answer the question. No. That's the answer I'm going to give.
Yep. Gwen, you do have
Come
to
back
tell
here,
us
Gwen.
which sody pop you ended up getting.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, you inflict onslaught before your attack roll, which Violet Beer is great. However, Violet Beer is only capable of being taken at Essence 3. So the Sidereal martial arts, which are incredibly powerful and also incredibly cool, are not possible for starting characters.
At least not in this game, anyway.
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Nice.
If it was caffeine-free Diet Dr. Pepper, I'd ask you to send me a pallet.
A whole ass palette on normal
It's
mark.
I miss Dr. Pepper so fucking bad, man.
It was
So
really good.
bad. And you just can't get caffeine-free Dr. Pepper around here.
No, you can only get the normal kind.
Well, there's Diet Dr. Pepper.
No,
You can
yeah,
get-
but I just mean they don't have any of the fun flavors either.
No. Sure.
Ooh, delicious, Cassie Mouse. Prometheus, I think that's going to come up in a future.
Zero sugar root beers, that we can have. Why caffeine free? I don't deal well with caffeine. Just I discovered this in my 20s, that it turns out that like when I drink caffeine, I just don't sleep properly. Like, and so I cut most sources of caffeine out from my diet, and then I do a lot better. I wake up in the morning and I'm alert. I don't. Yeah. It's that, but that's a me problem. That's not a judgment on caffeine. I miss it, but I just can't do it.
So for Blazing Crown, I'm just making a note here, John, of things that I'm considering or reconsidering. Right, int plus craft as a
pool of 3
conceit is like a little concerning. And then I'm definitely lacking in certain abilities entirely, which I think is fine. But
well,
do I need like 3 or 4?
Dodge. You currently, the only way for you to block things effectively right now is to parry them.
Right.
But that's fine. Your martial arts will take care of that. Your brawl even can take care of that for you. Archery, you currently aren't using a bow. Investigation, you don't seem like the kind of person who does a lot of investigating. If you're a brash pirate, you're like going and kicking down doors, asking people maybe what's going on, but you're not the one who's like sifting through the dirt trying to see if they can discover the footprints.
That's
right?
it.
Medicine you don't have, but that's okay too. Melee we've already discussed. Occult. So occult covers.
Yeah,
I'm just going to make sure that that's known, because we also, because this is a different kind of game, we also want to make sure that you understand what occult means in terms of Datafall as well, right? So
I have to look through the charms again, real brick wall, but I think that makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm not hacking. I'm distracting while the others are hacking.
Occult.
Ship guns. Gil, I've flagged your question for later. Thank you.
In terms of the game itself, occult is necessary to create artifacts or to use sorcery, neither of which are things that currently you're doing. Occult represents an instinctive facility for dealing with creation's mystical and otherworldly elements. It describes a rapport with the uncanny and things normally held beyond mortal ken. This includes understanding of the nature, powers, and ways of gods, ghosts, demons, and things beyond the ken of heaven and the gods. Occult is vital to the exorcist and the shaman, whose arts cannot be taught to those lacking proper sensitivity, and also to the sorcerer whose senses pierce the veils of the universe. Now, what this means is you don't know a ton about things like gods, despite the fact that you've spent some time in Utah. Now, that's okay though. I don't mind that. But it might mean that, for instance, if someone was like, hey, so what is this god capable of? Your answer might be like,
I think it's going to be one of these, actually. Yeah. I don't know.
So,
God of rain. The way you've just described occult is the thing that I wanted to not dig into with this character, at least at first. That feels very correct to me. I'm writing it down. It's something I want to think about. Why would I have not incorporated any of this knowledge when I trained in the Bureau?
Because you didn't care?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Gil asked the ship's guns,
Yes,
what
thank
abilities used for that. So this is actually something that was brought up that I have to figure out. Originally, I was like, yeah, of course the ships have these, but the thing is, I don't actually think Exalted has rules for ships' cannons, because they're not really a thing.
Crazy to me that there
But
wouldn't be.
archery would be the ability that you would use potentially if you were attacking.
It's a Pyre's quote. Well, it's me quote.
That is
it's Pyre's.
quote.
Yeah, sorry.
So that's siege weapons are in Arms of the Chosen. So then, yeah, we have Arms of the Chosen.
Oh.
So we can take a look at it. However, we may just remove the ship's weapons if it turns out that that's just something that we want to sidestep and let people who might be archers, or just the ship will be more concerned with boarding than it would be concerned with those sorts of things. So we have to determine that. We're just going to figure that out.
Ramming speed. What? Yeah. I said ramming speed.
It's sail or war.
Okay.
Well, I mean, so maybe we will.
Well, that's okay, because I think we're probably going to have some sail and some war between us.
Yep. Well, you definitely have sail and you definitely have war. Just throw water balloons filled with piss. This isn't TF2.
And yet. Dude, that was it was a great April Fool's Day. It was a good day.
So
Ramming speed.
so we'll figure it out. Oh, it does have rule for ship weapons in the naval combat section. Ah, okay.
Didn't
Broadside and it uses sail.
see it
Great.
anywhere real brick wall, but
So then there we go. It would use those abilities.
Mhm.
See, this is why we have people.
who are very
Who-
well versed.
Yeah.
Yeah. The spirit of Macris lives on. Incredible.
Sail. All right. So
That's that.
you were talking about craft. You were talking about whether or
Yes.
not you wanted to keep.
It as a favorite, I think specifically, because
Okay.
it feels to me like something like I want to have it. I feel like it would be cool. When I was thinking about what something else that Blazing Chrome would have experience in and he would be doing, it would be making explosives for criminal activity. This is in his
Oh,
past,
it's not
not his
isn't it?
present.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, beer.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a favored ability. If I were to remove it as a favored ability, we can, you know, move our bonus dots around, but my favored would probably go into, I don't know, athletics, awareness. Fucking hell, there's so many
I'll
good
tell you what.
options.
Why don't I ask you a question here?
So many good options. Yeah.
Why don't I have a sneeze that's gonna die?
Oh,
I think it just died. Oh, that's annoying.
damn it.
Okay. You have an
Sick.
intelligence of 1. As we've
True.
seen here.
Hell yeah, green hat.
Is this a thing that you might think that one day you may increase? Or is this something that you're like, no, I want this character to always be at intelligence 1?
Traditionally in these campaigns, I've made big promises about, oh, this is going to be a 1 for as long as possible, and then it doesn't stay that way forever. Not that there isn't a ton of things to spend XP on, but I tend to find that 1s become 2s within 40 or 50 sessions. So let's say at some point, yes, I would probably raise it to intelligence 2.
So the idea that you have crafts at 2 so that you can help make explosives, right? Because it's also you did declare a specialty, right?
Yes.
All of this stuff is still totally within your realm of possibility here. So one of the things that I wanted to ask is that if you specifically were like, no, I always want to be the meathead and that's all I ever want to do, right? For instance, in our Changeling campaign, Patches remained at Charisma 1 for I think almost the entirety of the game.
It was a long time, that's right.
And then it was only at the very, very end that the kind of like the character ended up getting that second dot of charisma as just a sign that like she might have learned a little bit over the years of gameplay that had happened.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'm fine with you keeping crafts at 2. Also, you know, some people just have intelligence 1, but they're very good at crafts.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Like that's fine. But if you want to change it, what would you change the favored to?
That's it.
Because also, this doesn't mean you can't buy a craft charm.
No,
It
it's
means
true.
that it costs you 2 extra experience.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Times 2. Oh no, yeah, that's abilities times 2.
Oh, sorry, no, it's not 2 extra. It costs -1 XP if it's a favored. So it's like it's really not that much of a difference.
Yes. Favored wise, I the ones that jump out to me would be like athletics, awareness, or ride. Ride, is something I guess we should talk about because I don't see Blazing Chrome as having like a horsey that he rides, that he like has around, but there are some sweet ride charms that feel a bit appropriate.
Yeah, I got muddled, Cordes. You're right.
Yeah. So, maybe this is worth considering because certainly like arranging as we were saying before, like arranging the bonus points that's not a big deal.
No,
don't mind
you've
that.
spent enough on things that's not the issue.
No hover cycles. Well, hang on, Nuxumbri. We don't know.
Ride is also drive.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. The charms in Sidereal that have to do with ride have to do with making mounts out of living creatures that are not normally mounts. Not entirely. That's not all they
but
do,
also
they do a bunch
being
of
able
things,
to like make a creature a god.
Yes, that's right. And like, is that something that I think Blazing Chrome would do? Like, for the chaos, sure, but like, is that the focus? I don't know.
It is worth noting that Sidereal Charms, the Sidereal Charm set, which by the way, fucking great.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of these charms are not just like, it's dice tricks in order to make this ability better. It's not just, oh, a ride charm is always going to matter in terms of riding a thing and that's it. Or a melee charm is only going to be good for, medicine. Like a medicine charm is only good for healing somebody. Like that's actually not how they work. They tend to dip into other things a lot. So having ride charms may not necessarily mean that it's just all about you riding a thing.
That's true. And there are things, people are saying things in the chat, which like, can I just say, great minds think alike, guys, because that is kind of
Are we gonna just
go over
toss
there?
one of these merits in right now?
Yeah. I had considered a little one dot familiar, who I had conceived of as the digital projection of a parrot, because again, he's really leaning into this.
Do you have a name for that?
Oh, I hadn't reconsidered. I had one, but then we
had one, and I said
we nixed it for stream, because it was. And then you have to censor me when I say the next bit, John.
No, we can say it.
I'm kidding.
Because it's too similar to a name of a parrot of a game that I worked on.
Yeah, so it's not.
Just to avoid a little bit of like, we're just gonna not.
Yeah, but like so that would be part of the resplendent destiny of like the resplendent destiny of this sort of seafaring pirate yar, like from days of yore or whatever. But also the ride charms that let you ride a mount that can't normally be ridden. That's like fucking hilarious to me. That's very funny. And we don't always do wacky in these campaigns, but I think we are aiming for it.
More of a bit more of an allowance for goofiness.
A bit more whack, if you will. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily convinced here, John, but I think I might move that favorite over to ride. Do you remember? I'm not sure if I'll ask you the question on stream, but you don't have to answer on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if either the other two PCs have taken ride as like a major ability?
Let me glance.
Thank you. But yeah, as John mentioned, one of the higher level ride charms is just make your spirit dematerialized, and then one of them is you turn it into a god.
No.
Well then, let's fucking go for it.
Okay.
I again,
we can change this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you rediscover things, and if you look at the ride charms and decide like, oh crap, no, yes, then that's fine.
Yeah. And I don't want to I also just want to say in chat here, guys, I know I'm the first of the 3 PCs to do character creation. This is not to set the tone for the entire fucking Chronicle, but I am interested in making and playing a character who is grounded is the wrong word. Not too heady. He's just, he's
present. He's in the moment.
He's in the moment, and sometimes that means doing crazy shit.
If that's the case,
Partnado.
Do you want to consider? And
yes.
This is just to further emphasize that particular concept. Do you want to consider maybe taking a dot away from perception and putting it into wits to have wits 4
for the for joint battle?
Not necessarily
sorry.
battle. The idea being that your character, if your character is constantly just like, I act on the stuff that's in front of me right now. The idea being that you could take a slight hit to your perception in order to really emphasize the idea that you are
on it.
However, you might also just want to keep that at 313 because you also do need to be aware of your surroundings in order to act on them. So that's just a question. Do you want to perhaps start your wits at 4, and then the idea also being that then if you wanted to spend experience to say put your perception back up to 3, it's cheaper to move from 2 to 3 than it is to move from 3 to 4.
That's very true, actually. So it kind of behooves you a little bit to min-max is the wrong term, but it behooves you a little bit to maximize.
I'm encouraging you to think about your character in terms of what's really important. And if you say what's really important is I want to be constantly taking things as they are and acting on them right away.
Yeah.
I'd recommend putting your wits to 4.
I love this, John. This is a great conversation. Thank you. Let's try it.
Great.
Let's see how it feels. Let's see how it feels. I still have some bonus points as well, which may well end up going into an attribute, but we'll talk about that.
Sure. All right. Now, you also have some specialties.
Yes.
So let's go.
In Exalted, specialties give you +1 to appropriate rolls. They are tied to abilities, and you start with 4. I think you always have to start with 4. Here are the specialties I've come up with as of now. The first one is Brawl, and the specialty is You Wanna Go, which we may well rename. We'll go in alphabetical order. The next one is Bureaucracy. I've tagged it as like item appraisal. What I mean is, how much do things sell for?
Yep.
The next one is Presence, Terrifying Countenance. Big, scary dude.
Yep.
And then I had one and I changed it quite recently because I think it was maybe in Melee or something. Anyway, the last one was War, Natural Commander. I think what I want to play with a little bit with Blazing Chrome is like where he came from, his history as a criminal, as a, not a scamp, but as like someone who, just kicks heads in the street, blows shit up, and where he's come to, someone who's trained in a martial art, someone who has worked with the Bureau of, the Bureau of Heaven, like someone who has trained and taken missions and done things. And War Natural Commander feels like a decent meet of these two things. He hasn't trained in stratagems, but he's naturally a commanding figure on the battlefield, which I think would fit better in War than Presence. Hell yes, Bluey. You're my inspiration.
Just gonna put in your base willpower at 5.
Oh yes, thank you.
Supposed to be there. And your essence is at 1. Now, a couple of questions here. I see that something's already come up in chat, but I'm going to bring it up here. You want to go. What does that mean?
Yeah, great question.
When would that apply?
It would apply when I'm trying to. It would apply when I'm trying to use Brawl to be aggressive or assert myself on people. When would I not? Is maybe a better question.
Wouldn't that be a presence specialty then?
Yeah, it would be.
So, because you have a presence
I do have
specialty already. So, in terms of Brawl, the reason why I'm asking is because you want to go. I would assume that would apply all the time. If you're fighting.
Yeah.
Unless it was like somebody hits you over the back of the head and you're like, I don't want to fight. And then all of a sudden your specialty no longer applies, which could be, it's a little too broad at the moment.
Yeah, that's totally
But I like the idea, I like the phrasing that you've got, right? Like one of the things that I really like about these kinds of phrasings is that it helps define the character.
Yeah.
It helps kind of give you those signposts, that North Star of like, where am I going with this character? So what's another phrase that you could use to describe how he uses Brawl?
We will come on to phrasing shortly, but but like what I'm imagining is going into a bar or an alleyway and challenging people to arm wrestling fights, like challenging people to like feats of combat and competition. I'm imagining starting a barroom brawl. I'm imagining picking up improvised weapons and using them to cause maximum damage.
So
it's like carnage of some
kind. Could I then perhaps say that the specialization that you're looking at is using Brawl to impress?
Oh, to make an impression.
Yeah, to make it
yeah.
So like if you were fighting for your life, that's not necessarily an application for this. But if you're definitely like, we're in a bar and you just smash a beer bottle and shank somebody with it, and you're like, let's fucking go, right? That's, I think, closer to what you're looking at here.
Yes, I think that is also captured in You Want to Go. So that feels correct to me. So, oh yeah, that's what it was. I had taken like melee flashy fighting or something, but then I dropped melee, so I dropped the specialty. Yeah. But flashy fighting, I don't know how you want to making an impression.
I'm going to put this.
Oh hell yeah!
Like
hell yeah, yeah.
Just like pay attention to me.
Watch this, guys. Yeah.
So it would apply if you're very specifically trying to make an impression.
Mm-hmm.
And fighting somebody one-on-one in an alleyway, you don't need to make an impression necessarily, unless you're specifically like, I'm trying to intimidate this guy and I'm going to show off like how I can kick his ass without even my fancy martial arts. I'm just going to fucking go using a dumpster
Let's pick up this whole dumpster.
Yeah,
Let's
like
go.
that's where I would see this is happening.
Yeah, that's great, John, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. This is in the core. I think it's important. Again, there are a lot of people in chat who know the game Exalted very well, and there are many who don't. So I'm saying this for the people who don't. Specialties give you a +1, but the game doesn't want you to take one that always applies or one that never applies.
Right.
So their example was swords while breathing. That always applies. But diclaves doesn't necessarily always apply, because what if you don't have your diclave?
Right.
When it would most of the time.
And in this case, I think most of the time you're going to be using Brawl is times where you're actually trying to make an impression, because your primary combat ability is actually martial arts.
Yeah. Even though 4 and 5 is like,
Right.
But yes.
Yeah. Hold my beer is
Hold my beer.
Are interesting.
Yeah. Those are all the same, like, they're all in the same vein, I think, though, right? And it's nice. It fits. Yeah. To me, it fits with Terrifying Countenance quite well.
So you can determine the wording of that on your own, figuring that out later. Bureaucracy, item appraisal. I liked something that I think it was Requiem who said it. I could be wrong, but the idea that instead of item appraisal, we'll call it market value.
Nice. Yeah, that's great.
So
sorry.
This also means that you can apply it to not just an item, but also a service.
Yeah, awesome.
Right? So that you can be like, oh, an assassination, that's going to go for like an obol of jade or whatever, right? Like this, so you would know not just, oh, this thing is worth this much.
No, but what things are worth. This is good. Because I was thinking black market originally, but that's probably more larceny to me. That would feel more like larceny.
I like the idea of putting market value in for bureaucracy.
I agree. Yeah, me too.
Splooey would love a solar brawl with athletic supernal.
You know, Splooey
You
would
are
love
fucking right.
Ray from Exaltwitch Nexus.
Yeah.
Which is great.
So presence, Terrifying Countenance. Why don't you give me the phrase that you think of when you think of Terrifying Countenance?
What I had written down, guys, in brackets was, "You'd best start believing in ghost stories. You're in one," which is, of course, from the hit 2003 film Pirates of the Caribbean. Which is funny because
23 years ago.
Oh no! Not necessarily the most terrifying phrase of all time. It's like cartoony in that movie.
The idea that you're using presence in such ways that, like, if you can give the impression of somebody who's a big badass or somebody who is the person we paid attention to, then it would work. But it might not work against somebody who's like significantly taller than you, or somebody who has the same amount of strength as you do.
Or, if I may, if my resplendent destiny is like
do that.
Meek Librarian.
Why don't we talk about Resplendent Destinies for a second?
Great question. That's a great thing to talk about, John.
Sidereals, as Exalted, had to pay a bit of a price. They are the ones responsible for imprisoning all the Solar Exalted's exaltations after the Purge. And they built a prison, the Jade Prison, and they decided to hide that prison in the constellation of the Mask. And the constellation broke.
Yep. Now, see, that sucks. But, like, honestly, good plan. I think everyone knows this was a good plan.
So it meant that then the Sidereals became afflicted with arcane fate. Unless you're another Sidereal, you will forget that this Sidereal existed. You will not remember their name. You will not remember who they are. You can never truly count on somebody always knowing you, unless you're another Sidereal. However, Sidereals can create what are called Resplendent Destinies, kind of like a character that they play in order to sidestep arcane fate. So an idea of a Resplendent Destiny could be, for instance, I'm the Maverick race car driver.
Sure.
So you're presenting yourself as the Maverick race car driver, in which case you have to act like a Maverick race car driver. You gotta have the shades. You gotta have the scarf that goes behind you. You have to talk about cars like you know them. And then people will accept this at face value. It's great. And they'll remember not Blazing Chrome. They'll remember whatever name you give this Resplendent Destiny. Like, let's say, just like Speedy... Tornado Macaw.
Tornado Macaw, great.
So they'll remember
Perfect.
Tornado Macaw, the race car
Classic.
driver, but they won't remember Blazing Chrome. And the problem with a Resplendent Destiny is that you can break them. So if you break Tornado Macaw, everybody forgets Tornado Macaw, and you can't get that back. So then if you show up and you're like, look, I look the same, I have the same face, they're like, no, you don't.
Because you do look the same.
Yeah.
You're not changing your. I mean, you can
use
disguise
disguises
your
and
appearance.
stuff.
Yeah, but you don't have to.
They will just be like, no, I don't recognize who you are. So.
Yeah. And then that's right. Yeah, there are in addition to Sidereals, there are some other.
Is this the
people
game where all of your Method Madness characters just become your resplendent
In a
destinies?
Sidereal game, it makes so much sense, John.
So Tornado Macaw.
Yeah, the
Dr.
Dr. Surgeon MD. When I have to do investigating.
Prospero.
Yeah. When I have to do investigating, I'll get Striker
So just
down here.
all of your Method Madness
Dude,
characters from your streams.
hilarious.
They're just the resplendent destinies.
I can write all of that off on my taxes because I've been preparing for this. I don't think that's how taxes work, guys. Don't take this to mean anything about that. I'm playing a meathead. Don't worry about it. Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
So amazing.
Thank you.
But that's one of the things about this game, about Sidereals, that I find fascinating, is that you aren't just playing your character. You're going to have to adopt these other personas every once in a while. And part of the heart-wrenching thing of it is that you can fall in love with a resplendent destiny. You can be like, I love Tornado Macaw, but you can never truly know Blazing Chrome. You'll forget Blazing Chrome unless you are Sidereal. Or, yes, as people have mentioned, like, certain gods are immune to it.
But that's a good point. I think this will probably play a big part in the campaign because we'll talk about
Weirdness.
this.
Fucking brutal.
Wow.
You have the same
Holy
toxic
shit.
medicine as the doctor.
Incredible. And Aragorn also coming in to roast the shit out of me. I love it, guys. Thank you so much. But I think this is going to be a big part of the campaign. We'll talk about it when we talk about framework and session zeros and all that. But like the 3 PCs, we will know each other. We're all going to be Sidereals. So we're not going to forget each other. And
I hope not.
I hope not. Good Lord. But like, the book goes into great detail about this. It's a very lonely existence if people don't know who you are. So you naturally make connections with the only people you can make connections with, other Sidereals and people in the Bureau.
Even your enemies.
Yeah.
Right?
Isn't that nuts?
Sidereals who have opposing viewpoints, even Sidereals who might be actively hostile with each other, will sometimes just be like, you want to meet for coffee? Like, I can't talk to anybody else about this shit. And you will.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's something, here's another way of thinking of this. When you exalt, your parents, your siblings, your children, your best friends, they will forget you.
Yeah.
And they will make excuses in their mind as to why their son no longer exists or isn't around, or that they never had a son in the first place. Like, you will. This is an inevitability. You can walk up to your parents and be like, I'm your son, and they'll be like, we don't have a son,
like, or whatever,
crazy.
Right? Yeah, get him out.
You look nothing like my son. And you could be the spitting image of your father, and they would just be like, no, impossible,
not true. Oh God. Yeah.
Yes, it's possible to remember the
well.
existence of Sidereals.
Yeah.
Just not specific Sidereals. But also, a lot of people don't know about Sidereals. They do kind of try to keep their tracks covered in a certain extent.
If there was a flaw whereby a Sidereal was also subject to arcane fate, I would be tempted to take it because I'm that kind of player. And so, thank God, I don't want it. Guys, I don't want that.
Real Brick Wall, that is my favorite piece of art in the book.
Yeah.
The one that you're referencing. There's a piece of art in the Sidereals book. Can you find it, actually?
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
It was early-ish.
Yeah, it's relatively early on. It's the section where they discuss arcane fate.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Where it's a little girl. Well, we'll show it to you when it comes up. But it is my favorite piece of art in the book. I just adore it.
Is this character creation going well, John? I think it is.
Well, I think the
Is
whole
it going
point was
quickly?
just we're talking about the.
We're just vibing, guys. No,
we're talking about the whole thing.
Where are you?
Probably better off looking in the index than in.
Resisting. There's arcane fate. I just wanted to find the pages and see if it is indeed in this section. Oh, thank you, Crotus. That's exactly where I was going. Nice job. Thanks, everybody.
I love how yeah.
Can I try to show this on stream, guys? If you have the book, you can go see a better version. but you can't
Here,
really
I'll
see super well from
I'll
here.
pop it up on
Oh,
screen.
thanks, buddy.
I can do
Aye, aye.
this. Let's just do a.
Oof. That's just so sad, man. Talk about the power of art for storytelling. Am I right?
So
Good, Sablica. Good. Blackja.
this is my favorite piece of art in the book, just because her daughter no longer recognizes her.
Yeah.
We assume it's her daughter. It could be somebody else, but I think it's her daughter.
Yeah.
It's it is just, this is part of what being a sidereal is.
Which I think is going to be an important part of the campaign, even if we're not playing like a fucking Shakespearean tragedy all day or day. Which is probably good.
Well, one of the things, I mean, we'll get into the tone of the campaign as we discussed, but one of the things is romance is a big part of our games. It always has been. But here, romance is going to have that, like, if you're not sidereal.
Yeah. Which is, going to be
Yeah.
an important conversation to have sessions.
Ferris says, it's not impossible to regularly beat that difficulty silver roll, and Crucible Legends suggests circle mates who aren't sidereals are immune at least as long as the circle holds for constant exposure. So that is true, but that is, as they admit, a game conceit. It's a game conceit because it would be very fucking weird if you were playing in a game and then all of a sudden somebody fails a roll and they're like, I don't recognize this person in the circle anymore. And
Yeah.
then, like, the circle busts up because of a roll.
What do you mean 5? Circles are always 4. Like, what are you talking about?
So that is a game conceit, which, like, I fully agree with, and I think that that's important. But in reality, eventually, everyone forgets. That's what happens, unless crazy high stats, personal intimacies, and all that. And the idea that Tornado Macaw and Dr. Surgeon could both have a love triangle with an NPC who doesn't know that they're two different, that they're the same person.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
I mean, incredible.
Yeah, you got to romance because abyssals, infernals, demons, and other enemies of fate are outside fate, and so therefore arcane fate does not necessarily apply to them. But we'll see.
Taking bets on Gatimians, how quickly we're gonna get a hot Gatimian in the game, guys. Get your bets in now.
I may still have the Trisha wig somewhere.
Trish the dish. I love her. Oh boy. Yes.
All
yes.
right.
Sick. Okay. This, like, the character to me is quite present, but we're gonna have to see it in play. But at least the dot spread is still feeling correct for me as of now.
So if the dot spread feels correct, that's kind of the important bit. So let's take that and show me my bookmarks. There we go. And let's move on. We are still creating things. So let's move on to your merits.
Hooray!
Now, in terms of merits, martial arts is free.
Incredible.
You don't have to pay for it.
Incredible. Love that.
The other things that you get for free, because you're a member of the Celestial Bureaucracy, whether or not you're a good member is another question,
Thumbs up.
is that you get 5 extra dots. How have you spent those?
I have spent them. This is the default spread that is given, but you can take those dots from among a number of different kinds of merits to do with the organization, but it is backing 2 and resources 3, which is pretty wild. Pretty wild.
So you get a salary and you have some backing in the Bureau of Destiny.
Mm-hmm. All for free, which is fantastic. Yeah, the way it's described in the book is just like most sidereals, like, just because of their long lifespans and because of, working in heaven, they have like, it's like they put most like earthly princes to shame just by existing, like, which I thought was kind of fun, especially because I think part of what had originally been part of the character concept was like, I want to like steal shit, or I used to steal shit, and now what does someone who's grown up in poverty do when they have access to riches, right? That'll be interesting to me, I think.
A couple of questions that I've just clued into here.
Oh yeah.
How do you see Arcane Fate messing with the usual NPC dynamics? I think we've discussed that. It is going to play into it. It is... one thing that we are going to have to determine is whether or not I am going to do the rolls.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I may end up saying, we are leaving it to fate, and I will roll to see if characters remember.
Yeah.
I may just decide. I think it'll end up being rolls. But the interval of those rolls are something that I'll figure out. But we'll see.
Also, it's like, when is it dramatically appropriate? You return to see someone you haven't seen in a few months. It's like, is it appropriate to roll right now? Yeah.
Is it going to be fun for the players to have that moment where every time they return to the ship and they approach a specific crew member, that crew member may or may not remember?
Oh no, so sad.
So that's the thing. Remember that this is something that I think is exciting, something that I think that everybody's going to really enjoy, but we also want to make sure that it brings happiness to the players. If it's only a source of stress, that's a problem. If it means that the players at one point will just be like, well, I'm never going to talk to anyone who isn't Sidereal or a god ever again because I just always get burned, that's no fun either. The point, there has to be that interesting dynamic of, will they remember me? And is it worth experiencing a moment of happiness with this person, even though I know that it's temporary, right? I mean, you have the same sort of thing. If you live for 5,000 years and you fall in love with somebody whose life expectancy is 50, that's a temporary thing.
Well, I hope you're at the end of yours.
Which reminds me, go watch Fear and Journey's End. It is actually an excellent show, which deals with this topic very specifically. It's very cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Merits.
You spent 1 out of your 10.
I, as of now, have chosen to take a lot of, I don't remember what they're called, but like ones that you take at character creation, or I can't remember, but like a lot of physical merits, as opposed to things like backing, contacts, artifact, etc., etc. Doesn't mean I won't change these.
They're known as merits.
Yes. I'm going to come back to that, Aramithius. I want to list these first. Coming at you, John. Direction sense, which is a 1 dot merit. Strong lungs, which is a 1 dot merit, innate. And I think some of these are, but I think some of them are not. Fast reflexes, which is a 3 dot merit. Oh god, you're going to run out of space. Oh no. Pain tolerance, which is a 4 dot merit. Oh, so that's all my merits.
Yeah.
Right, because there's another one that we talked about getting for free, but we'll get there later.
I have given all of the players, everybody in Sidereal knows their native language, and they also know Old Realm, because Old Realm is the language that's spoken in heaven, Yushan. However, I don't love restricting too many languages via merits. I like the idea that there will be languages that you cannot speak, but I don't like the idea of, okay, well, let's go over to make sure that we all each have different languages to make sure that one of us can communicate. So you're all going to get River Speak, which is the most common language spoken, and you will also get another language of your choice in addition to your native language and Old Realm. So maybe High Realm if you want that, Low Realm, all of that stuff. Basically, everyone's going to get a couple of languages for free. If you want more at that point, buy a merit.
Pay for them.
But I personally, I grew up in an area where being bilingual is just a thing that you gotta be. So it's a little weird to me to say, like, you have to spend a merit on this, because we know plenty of people for whom knowing 3 languages, 4 languages is just a normal part of life.
It's fascinating, though, isn't it? Because there are certain parts of the world in which, like, bilingualism is essentially, this is not a judgment, because I know it is often applied to like certain parts of North America specifically, but like this is true in all parts of the world. There are certain countries where you grow up speaking one language because that's 99.9% of everything in that country happens in one language, or in that city or that region. But then, as you say, there are certain geographic regions where language is a lot more traveled and people learn 3 or 4. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's fascinating to me.
So it's basically native, old realm, and then 2 extra languages. I think everyone's probably going to pick River Speak.
I think that's the most common.
Because it's the most common language in creation. But that's going to depend on where people have grown up and what they decide to do.
And and I'm not sure about the one beyond that. It might be Low Realm, but we'll talk about that.
Now,
wouldn't be high.
Strong lungs makes sense for somebody who spends a lot of time on the water. Direction sense makes sense for somebody who is doing that, although you are not the captain of the ship, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't contribute.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm going to flag direction sense if just that, why did you take it?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want direction sense?
Because I had seen the past of the character being somebody who can innately understand where to go and how to, rather than being able to like track people or perceive the world around him. He just innately understands this, when I'm out on the ocean or in the streets of Wujian.
So why didn't you just choose to be a chosen of journeys?
That's a good question. And I won't say that I wasn't tempted. Because this guy feels like a chosen of battles. I don't know what to tell you. He feels like someone who,
Fair.
But yeah.
But one thing that you and I were talking about before the stream started was the fact that you have not purchased an artifact.
Ah, yes. Now, I do love an artifact.
Sidereals do have access to the bureaucracy, celestial bureaucracy, Bureau of Destiny, who are known to loan out artifacts.
Okay.
You also could potentially just have one of your own. Is this something that you want?
I mean, yeah, mechanically, yes, they're great. Especially a weapon. An artifact weapon would make a lot of sense. Artifact weapons, either you have to spend XP to unlock evocations, and I'm just trying to remember from previous
evocations. They're kind of like charms.
Yeah, but they're designed between us, right? Essentially, they.
Yes, if they don't exist already in a book, then you and I would determine what they would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yes.
To indicate that you become more and more familiar with the weapons as you go on,
right, and how they work and so on. And I think it's so nice because it adds such a personal touch to something that could, in many games, it's just like I use a bow, I use a chakram.
But you don't have to start with an artifact if you don't want to. But do you want to?
I am so tempted. Yes, I would love to.
Yes. Fuck you, John.
No, honestly, no. But
you still have 5 freebie points which you have not spent.
Yeah.
Now, merits are 1 per dot.
That is pretty good. And attributes are 4 or 3, depending on whether it's tertiary. Because I was thinking about another attribute dot, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, one thing that you could do is you could get another attribute, then you have 1 dot remaining. Then take away
some merit
2 abilities, and then you have 3, which is enough for an artifact weapon.
It's pretty exciting, man. It is pretty exciting. Can I also just pitch this as an idea? I
will be prepared to catch.
Well, I haven't thought of exactly what it would be like, but if the martial art is like a core component of something that he's trained in and something that he now brings to bear against his foes and against the Bureau's foes on the battlefield,
right,
then it would make sense to me that his mentor might have sort of directed him towards finding an artifact weapon that would suit his style, as opposed to just any old pair of swords will do, I had this is something I've spoken to you about, but visually I had thought that it would be cool if we'll see kind of how it ends up shaking out. But this is a cyberpunk setting, and one of the things that often occurs in cyberpunk settings is body modifications, either for aesthetic reasons or for efficacy reasons. And I had kind of conceived, what if instead of wielding dual swords, he had them in his body, as, not Wolverine claws, but essentially as large arm blades. Arm blades, that's the one. And if they were artifact then, and we had talked about this, about what the artifact means, but perhaps the story could be that they were not grafted onto him through cybernetic enhancement in creation, but perhaps cybernetic enhancement in heaven. And what story opportunity is there that could be really interesting? hey, these blades are going to be a part of you because your job, your destiny is now to wield them in the fight.
They are your destiny.
Yeah.
I
Everyone's loving Mantis blades, guys. I want to say this outright really quick. I also like them, but they're not. That's not going to be Mantis blades. They look, to me, they look very odd and hard to wield. But I'm just, don't be mad at me. They are really cool. Oh god.
In the world of Datafall, one of the things that I realized is that body modification is something that I think is super cool, right? I like the idea of you being able to say, like, I'm going to graft this as part of my body. I think that's neat. However, what we are looking at for this is the idea of materia. In the campaign frame, I've described that the 5 magical metals, so that's orichalcum, star metal, jade,
Moon silver.
moon silver, and the last one is soul steel.
Soul steel.
These are elements of which specific chips can be designed. And these chips can power weapons in order to turn them into artifact weapons. They can power body modifications in order to turn them into artifact weapons.
Right.
That they can power these sorts of things. Which means that it is possible, for instance, for you to be disarmed, because what somebody would need to do is just take the chip from you or knock the chip off your body. So you still have the blades, but now they no longer work because you do not have access to the materia that exists.
Yeah.
Orange jade.
Orange jade. The new scent by Coco.
What the fuck?
You heard me.
And so, as a direct result of this, as a direct result of this, the idea being that it still maintains the rules, being able to be disarmed, you know, because one of the things about body modifications is that then you don't want to run into a situation where, like, okay, well, I know that you have blades built into your arms, so I'm going to rip your arms off.
Yeah.
And then you can go into the building and meet with the, like, CEO, because I don't want to let you go in there with the weapons that you have.
Well, that's it. Oh, I don't have any weapons on me. But like, yes, you do. Like, we know you do.
Yeah.
And we need to deal with that.
So these chips are alongside Hearthstones. Hearthstones are not necessarily materia, right? Because Hearthstones aren't made of magical metals. They have to be set in a magical metal in order for you to gain certain of their abilities, right? Like you have to put them in a tiara or a bracelet or a pendant,
Which
or a cock ring.
Hank, how much? Just out of curiosity, what's the cost of a merit for Hearthstone?
For a Hearthstone, you have to have mance, so 2 or 4.
Is it worth getting a mance so I can have a cock ring? Just kidding, everybody. Just kidding.
Are we?
Are we? Guys.
Yeah,
Gross.
tiaras are great.
Love a tiara.
Love a tiara.
Jorok had a pretty princess tiara.
Yeah,
It was
he really
awesome.
did.
I loved that guy. Kind of.
So the idea of you, if you had a Hearthstone, you would need, in order to interface with that Hearthstone correctly, you would need one of the materia in order to do so. Materia is also the source of what we're calling in this game artificial sentience. We don't use AI. AI right now is a very loaded term, and it's often misunderstood because like there's 900 different things that people call AI, but they have very different technologies under the hood, et cetera, et cetera. They're not all LLMs, blah, 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 blah. Artificial sentiences are, in fact, the equivalent of artifacts. They run on materia. The vast majority of artificial sentiences no longer work because they were located in the Imperial Manse and were projected through the world streams, which now no longer exist. There are a few that can exist. For instance, your parrot could be one of these artificial sentiences if you don't want it to be an actual animal.
As long as it was like, you know, I'm certainly not interested in taking a familiar merit above 1. Really, I don't think I want to necessarily have the character be that present. But so as long as it was a relatively small artificial sentience, I think that's no big deal. That makes sense to me actually, because I'd imagined more of a digital projection than an actual animal.
Artificial sentiences, it should be noted, are quite limited. They're limited in terms of what they interact with. A high-level artificial sentience, the example that we had discussed when we were going on, would be like Jarvis. Jarvis is intelligent, but Jarvis also has a very specific, limited, like, I interact with the world in this way and I understand this. But Jarvis also isn't the sort of thing that can, at least as portrayed, for instance, in the films, Jarvis, until he becomes Vision, isn't the sort of thing that can, like, call up somebody and be like, I'm going to pretend to be somebody else. Like, that's just not part of his programming. He can't do it. So an artificial sentience like a 1-dot digital parrot would be able to interact as a parrot, maybe even a smart parrot, one that you could give some basic commands to, but would have the intelligence of like a 5-year-old. Right. Like you wouldn't be able to say, I need you to go over there and rewire this car for me. It would be like, I can go to the car, I can look at it. Hey, I see wires.
Do it yourself.
Right, like exactly. Familiar one, Tamagotchi. Yeah, VIs in Mass Effect products.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
How did we get on to artificial sentience? I can't remember.
So the idea is...
artifacts.
Did you want an artifact or not? So
cool. They're just so cool.
So you do have 5 freebie points.
Yeah.
So this is a thing for us to think of, because the other thing, as Aragorn pointed out, is that your willpower currently is set to 5, and it can only be increased with experience or with bonus points.
Yes.
It is not a value derived from other things like in Werewolf.
Right. Which I had forgotten about. And
are you comfortable with having willpower 5?
I think so.
Cool.
Yeah, I hadn't. It's always a good. I think it's always a good buy, especially at 2 points per dot. It's like not crazy to purchase it up. I also just I still view willpower as like, it's a stat, it's a resource that you spend to power certain effects, certain charms, and to add a success to your roll before you roll, not after, as opposed to a reroll like in Werewolf. But it still screams to me like I have a high sense, I have a really strong sense of purpose, and so I'm always hesitant to buy it up in characters that don't seem to have that to me. But,
well, Dante also had a very high
willpower
because
of the mental stats from which it was derived. Right. Yeah.
So 5 is still quite a bit. That's more than most mortals do.
Yeah. I think I'm going to consider it because I think it is it's good to have more of. Obviously, it's no bad.
You can buy it up.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
True.
You can spend experience on willpower.
And just 2-point stunt all day or day, right? To re-earn willpower. I think you'll let me do that all the time, right, John?
It is important to note that you will recover willpower based on in-game time as opposed to real time.
Yes.
So it's not like every session.
Yeah.
Gain X amount of willpower. It's a night's sleep,
or
stunting.
Probably for the best. Well, no, I shouldn't say for the best, but that's just how the system works.
It's how this system is balanced and designed around. I liked the simplicity of W5 for that.
Yeah.
But, this system is not simple.
No, it just in Montreal by Moonlight, because I had such a big pool and because I knew I was going to be probably recovering for every session. I was like, I can re-roll these, I can re-roll that. It wasn't a big deal.
Cassie Mouse, that is one of the places where you would put the materia.
Yeah.
Right? The idea being that if it's something that enhances a part of your body because it's a body mod, then it would be on your body and it would be something that somebody could potentially access. We haven't even gotten to NetSpace yet.
No.
So
I'm gonna continue to think about Artifact because I think it would be cool.
All right.
I'm gonna look up the stats in the meantime.
Because we also the stuff we have left are your intimacies and your limit trigger.
Woohoo!
So shall we get into your intimacies?
Yeah, we should absolutely do that. Woof. Willpower hungry, eh?
Now, I'll also remind you that you can't be good at everything. And
John,
you are totally within your rights and limits to decide that there will be some things like, your willpower isn't great. You're going to have to stunt a lot, or you're going, I don't know. Or the idea being that it's going to be a little difficult for you at the beginning of the game, and you'll have to buy up some willpower later.
Yeah.
That is fine.
Yeah.
We may be getting into charms. Yeah, the charms technically, I'm skipping over the charms for now, just because one of the things about charms is that there's like 15 of them right at the start. So we're going to discuss charms to a certain extent. I did want to get into Intimacies at some point today. Do you want to talk about the basic charms that you're looking at right now?
Yeah, I can. I can
let's look
definitely
at the charms.
because I had a long list, and then I've kind of pared some of them down, and then there's still a few that I'm on the fence about. But I will absolutely, John, I'll talk through a few that I went, oh yeah, this is like 100% for me.
Go for it.
Hungry Touch. Hang on, let me actually open up the thing on Casting a Timmy. Again, I'm just going to talk through the ones that are like kind of exciting for me. Where did you go? Hungry Touch is an athletics charm, sidereal charm, that allows you to touch an object to destroy it. You are rewriting the fate of that object through touch, which is pretty fucking cool, in my opinion, and feeds into the idea of destruction.
And you get a bonus to initiative in combat if it helps you.
Yeah, if it changes the scene in your favor or whatever, right? So like I can imagine, potentially destroying the floor that you're standing on or the roof above your head or whatever in some way to collapse something on.
Let's skip over to this one because I know that it's something that you did take.
Yep.
Oxbody Technique is actually a charm straight up in Sidereal.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's functionally identical. Based on your stamina, it gives you extra health levels, which is how it works in for Solars as well, but I can't remember if it's the same number and the same type or not.
Now, it could be confusing old editions and the like, but it used to be that you would pick how many health levels. Was it 1-0 level, 2 -1, several -2s? But in Sidereals, it's very specifically, depending on your stamina, you get this.
Yes. And I think that might be from second edition.
I believe
you're talking about, but like, so yes.
So what else are we looking at?
What else are we looking at? Something else that really appealed to me was another athletics charm called Burn Life. This is an athletics charm that allows you to spend motes. That might be Liz.
Hello?
One could say you were given a box oddly. Oh, that's cute. Real brick wall, I like it. Burn Life allows you to spend motes to increase your strength, up to your essence. So it's not very useful at low essence, but it's still something. It also, it helps with martial arts. That's the later thing. It also slightly reduces the lifespan of your sidereal.
Now, your sidereal could have a lifespan of up to 5,000 years.
Yeah, so maybe I don't care.
It won't have in-game consequence.
Yeah.
But it is something to note.
Yeah. I just feel like that to me is so flavorful. Like, I don't even necessarily want to talk about the use of it. It's just like, for this scene, I am even stronger, and also I took away my own life force to do that. Like, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want the character to be.
What else you got?
Actually, a lot of these are very exciting. There's a resistance charm called Unwavering Well-Being Meditation. I quite like this. An attack I'm reading my synopsis, not the one from the book. My apologies. An attack misses unless the enemy enters a decision point and spends a willpower. And then the intimacy they have to cite in their decision point depends on the disparity between your initiative. So I have no dodge, so my evasion is shit. It's not shit, it's just quite low. So unblockable attacks exist in Exalted. And if I can't dodge, then I'm in trouble. Here's my response to that. Okay, you must miss me unless you enter a decision point and spend a willpower, which feels like it's very interesting to me as a conceit.
Yeah.
Here's another one, Sheathing the Crimson Blade. This also felt very correct. It is a battles. This is the other thing. Just a vibe check. I don't actually know if it's true. Feels like, because Sidereals have charms in each ability, but also for each maiden generally, so like battles and journeys and so on. It feels like there's a lot of permanent charms. It just feels that way. I don't know if there's more.
Yeah.
It just feels that way. This is permanent. You can calculate your guile with any battles ability, and then you can raise your guile in specific circumstances by spending motes. Which is crazy, because so guile is, again, one of those things that I would have very low. Someone pointed out earlier, Blazing Chrome's read intentions is shit as well currently. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that, but it just is what it is. But Guile is, we'll talk about this in another character creation session.
Everything is better with Guile's theme, yeah.
That is true. That is very true. But Guile and Resolve are defensive stats in social combat. And if you don't have great socials, you might have kind of low Guile and Resolve, and that's probably not very good. And yeah, this allows you to essentially have better Guile. I would use Brawl or Martial Arts. Martial Arts is not a battles ability, sorry. I would use Brawl. I think that's pretty cool. Sonic Boom. What else? There's quite a few here that I think are very cool. I will mention... I won't mention martial arts charms because if people know Steel Devil style, you can just go look them up because I think you have to essentially take them in order. Not entirely order. Big bad fighter man, every fight's worth fighting. So the last one I'll mention now, John, is another another permanent charm called Heroic Essence.
Heroic Essence Replenishment.
Replenishment, thank you. Is another permanent charm. When you roll 10s on your dice, which count as 2 successes in Exalted, on Persuade and Threaten rolls, and then it says, and attack, or what I've written is attacks versus non-trivial enemies that align with major or defining intimacies of courage, recklessness, audacity, etc., you gain motes. It can't exceed the motes you spent on that roll. But basically, this is a permanent charm that says, I've put motes into this attack or persuade or threaten, and I rolled some 10s, so I get some of those motes back. Very, very cool. Yeah.
You got some pretty cool stuff going on.
Yeah. And then, again, it's on the Gil. It's honestly, it is on the long list, and looking at some of the ones I have on my short list, I might switch it out. Because Auspicious Implement for Strife is very, very cool. I think we can trust them. Classic.
Oh, that's an intimacy, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at your intimacies. Just knowing a few of the charms that you've picked. But let's take a look at some of the intimacies that you've decided to throw down here.
Okay.
So, as a reminder for intimacies, you must take certain intimacies. You have to have at least one defining, one must be a major, one of your intimacies must be positive, one of them must be negative, and those kind of apply. Now, you can take however many intimacies you want. We're not going to get into your intimacies with the other characters.
Right.
The other PCs right now.
Thank you, that makes sense.
So, why don't you throw down some intimacies here?
I will. I'm just doing something really quick on my lot casting Atemi.
I'm deleting things.
I'm just quickly...
They must not know.
Yeah, Elizabeth. It's a pretty empty sheet over there right now, Liz, but, we'll fill it out. Okay. So, you gotta start with... To me, I have to start with, what are the most important things? And that's gotta be defining intimacies and then major intimacies. Principles, things that you live by, right? Okay. My current defining intimacy is a principle that says, my deeds will be remembered. Now, I want to talk about this before I say anything else. I am aware the book very specifically, Sidereal book says, you are fated to not be remembered, and your deeds will not be remembered as you having done them. So I understand this is specifically, against the actual concept of how Sidereals work. But that's the character, man. The character does not want to be forgotten. And he understands that he will be, but the effect he has on creation needs to be huge. That he will not be lost to the pages of history.
So,
this also could mean, I'm gonna go change Arcane Fate somehow. Right? It could mean that. I don't know how you would do that, and I'm not even sure I would have a good idea of where to start. So there's good luck with that intimacy.
There's something that I'm going to throw down here, just to make sure that everything is clear. Exalted is a game of, I want to do something, and there's a very, very, very solid chance that it's possible.
Yeah.
even if you say something that is blatantly impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of you saying something like, I want to fix arcane fate.
Well, yeah.
Shit might be possible.
Sure, man.
Not with your stats.
No, well, not where I stand.
Whole lot of intelligence one that I see rocking your
Yet.
character sheet at the moment. But you just kick the constellation so hard that it's like, I'm sorry. It fixes itself.
I put the mask back together with like just, spirit gum and a dream. So I do want to talk about this before I even go on to anything else, because like, again, this feels like at the core of the character. So I'm happy to discuss it and rewrite it and so on. I understand, and like I'm saying this to you and to the chat and to myself. I understand that the fate of a Sidereal Exalted is to be forgotten. That's their fate. But this guy doesn't want to be. So all he can do is act and act and act some more, because actions have consequences on the world around them. Those can't be taken away.
So one of the things that I would have asked after hearing this, I know it's not right, but I'm going to bring it up anyway, just because it's my process. I would have said, is it my deeds will be remembered, or my deeds will shape creation indelibly, right? Like the idea that people will be able to see what has happened and therefore cool. Instead, what you're saying is my deeds will be remembered. Is it that the deeds will be remembered, or the fact that you did them?
That's it. So I believe that the latter is nothing's impossible in Exalted, but that feels a little more impossible. It's the fact that they were done that will be remembered, right? So this could be, a lot of the actions consequences on creation will fundamentally change creation, I would say.
Can we talk about reasonable stuff like your nails?
Yeah, sure. I mean, they're a little not too long right now. You're not talking to me. My apologies.
I am going to first ask, is this your defining intimacy? Now, you can it is possible to have more than one.
Yeah, sure.
Not many. You can't have like 700 defining intimacies.
Very easy to.
But when I say defining, I mean at the end of the day, is your character, is this the thing that drives them more than anything else? I want to be remembered.
I want to have an effect on the world. That will be. So hang on, because that's what
a
you
different
said.
Thing than what you've put here.
Yeah.
My deeds will be remembered. I want to have an effect on the world. That's a different intimacy.
I suppose that's true.
And that's kind of the thing. Because the other thing I'll point out is that you suffer from the same essence fever that everyone else who's exalted does. You must make an effect on the world. Now, that's not to say that isn't an intimacy for you, but the thing is, as an exalted, nobody can actually stop you from having an effect on the world.
You don't just go and like live on a quiet life on a farm. That's not how it works.
You literally can't. It is an impossibility for you.
Yeah.
So is that something that you want to put down as like something that defines you?
I want to,
A major is still incredibly important to you.
Yeah.
But it's the idea of the difference to me of it being a defining intimacy and being a major intimacy is that when you go to bed at night, did you think the things that I did are one step closer to me defeating arcane fate? Or is that something that you truly believe, like one day I'm going to take out arcane fate? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. I really think that to me would be a major intimacy, not a defining one. Defining is, this is the only thing that matters to me. Well, not the only thing.
No.
This is my primary
if you
reason
strip everything else away
for doing anything else. It's this. It is the thing that literally defines who I am.
Yeah. My problem currently is that, because I hear you, and in fact, I even tend to agree. I don't know if this could be the character's defining intimacy. For the reasons that have been mentioned, but also I think just based on who they are and what he cares about. My kind of issue is, and we will we will perhaps come onto something here.
Oh,
I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I have another intimacy that I've kind of crafted for this guy that I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a defining intimacy. I don't know if I have anything else in the wings.
That's why I wanted.
That's why we're here, right? Yeah.
This is the first that I've heard specifically of your being like, not just my deeds will be remembered, because that I think is an important, because some people, they're like, I don't care if my deeds are remembered. What I care about is that the result occurs, right? Because you could say, I cut down a tree and I want everybody to remember that this tree was cut down. But somebody else might be like, I cut down this tree in order to build a bridge, and I want to make sure that the bridge is the important thing, but I don't care if anybody remembers that I cut this tree down.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, Deftones.
Oh, what's up?
So it is an important matter to know, is it about your deeds being remembered or you being remembered? Give it to me, just gut feeling right now. What's more important to Blazing Chrome?
Deeds. The deeds being remembered.
The deeds being remembered, not him.
Yeah, but I think, and again, but maybe it might be me meta saying, don't know how that would ever work.
Why not? You're exalted.
Exalted. Because I don't know if he thinks of himself as that important. If that makes sense. Again, like obviously exalted understand they are important.
How does Blazing Chrome feel about Arcane Fate?
It's bullshit.
Okay.
It's bullshit and it's unfair. And it stops him from...
I think it's bullshit that I can't teleport anywhere that I want, but
yeah,
I put up with it. It's fine. It's not a defining intimacy to me.
No, I agreed. But like, you asked me the question. It feels like, I'll quickly kind of tangent here, John. You know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about in cyberpunk settings, there are some characters that sort of, in the world of Netrunner, some runners align themselves with Anarch.
Right. They want to affect change.
They want to affect change in the world. And people might do that for a variety of reasons. But that reason could just be the system, the world creation itself, parts of it are unfair. I have power. I'm going to wield it to change and reshape the system around me. Now, as you said before, and I think this is important, that is kind of what exalts do, just by definition.
Exalts must affect change.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they want to be remembered for them.
Mm-hmm.
It also doesn't necessarily dictate what kind of change they want, right? Affect change could also be, I will make sure that the realm remains in power for another 4,000 years.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Like, that's not necessarily a change. What you are doing, though, is you're exerting your will upon the world. You are making a difference in the world as a result of your specific actions. You just can't sit back and be like, my defining intimacy is a good couch, a good drink, and a good TV show is all I need.
Stop reading my own personal journal, John. Please.
Hey, Mistrich. So the idea here, something that Real Brick Wall mentioned, and it's where I was leading, is that you can take more than one intimacy for this.
Yes.
There's the idea of my deeds will be remembered. There's also the idea of I want to be remembered, or I should be remembered, or I want to do something about the fact that eventually no one will remember me.
Yeah.
All of these things actually are separate from my deeds will be remembered.
We can sort of subdivide this further.
Right. And so then I just want to drill down on this because this is kind of important for me.
I agree. Yeah.
Is it my deeds will be remembered or my deeds will have an impact?
Well,
does the story matter to you more than the effect?
So what I don't understand is how I understand in terms of language how those are different. But like for the character, they will never be remembered as your deeds.
Sure.
So if they're remembered, it's because they had an impact on the world. So I don't see how those are separate actually.
Okay, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Right now we're streaming on the internet.
Whoa.
right? We're streaming through YouTube directly into the devices of several people who are watching right now.
Holy
It'll be
crap.
recorded, and then
Hi, guys.
anybody could watch it later on, right?
Yeah.
And that's cool. There's somebody who is responsible for creating YouTube. There's somebody who's responsible for creating the World Wide Web. There's somebody responsible for creating the internet upon which the World Wide Web is based, upon which YouTube is layered on top, right? When you go to school, do they teach you who invented YouTube?
They don't teach me shit. I haven't been to school.
When you go to
but
school,
yes.
do they teach you about when the internet happened?
Like maybe just a name, maybe a year,
Right.
but not much
The
beyond
thing is
that.
also the internet didn't become like as big a phenomenon as it did now until you were kind of past that
Sure, yeah.
point. So just don't cross the streams. I mean,
Mhm.
so that's kind of what I'm pointing out. For somebody who was born in the past 5 years, the internet exists and has always existed, and that's what it is, and it's just part of life. People don't remember its creation,
Mhm.
it's just there. But you still learn about World War II.
Yeah.
You still learn about the invention of, say, the personal computer, maybe. You can remember, like, hey, so there were these two guys in a garage and they created a computer, and it was the thing that finally brought computers into the realm of hobbyists as opposed to massive rooms full of vacuum tubes, right? Like, there's a difference between just, oh, but it, yeah. that's what it
I
is.
guess somebody invented it, but I've never really thought
Yeah,
about
but I
that.
didn't think about it. So the question is it that you
Interesting.
want your deeds to be memorable, or do you want your deeds to have an impact?
That is okay. That's a good. Yeah, that's a good separation of ideas. So I'm gonna say, first of all, I'm gonna cop out and say both. But
That's
but,
fine.
But
That's great.
I'm gonna cop out and say both. I think the deeds being memorable is important as well. So it is both, because I do think that he has a real need to like affect change on the world, to sort of,
As all exalted do.
as all exalted do, but for him it is the, I know that part of my existence is to be forgotten, and so like, haha, look what I did, I blew up the mountain or whatever, who cares, I blew up the ocean.
Right.
But then to also have the deeds be memorable means that in the future, someone somewhere will remember something about him.
Okay. So then this is what I would suggest.
Okay.
You should have an intimacy detailing about the importance of your deeds. Because also there's a difference between my deeds are important and my deeds are just, or my deeds are good,
Sure,
or
yeah.
whatever. So the notoriety of it. But I think that you can also have an intimacy that's literally, I want to be remembered.
Yeah.
And I want to be remembered can still play in, even though you're a sidereal, even
true.
though you will be forgotten. I want to be remembered, which means that if you're talking to somebody who remembers you right now and they will forget you, but they remember you right now, you could try to hold on to that as best you could.
Yeah.
You could try to find ways to break arcane fate. Sometime in the future, this might be a thing that's like, no, you know what? This is important to me. I do want to find a way to fix the constellation of masks so that I can be remembered. You could potentially say, like, I am going to make sure that every goddamn sidereal in the world knows I did this, because at least they'll remember me.
Yeah.
But that's a different intimacy than my deeds will be remembered by creation as a
Okay.
whole.
I like that. So I'll need to work on the specific wording of how like the intimacy towards deeds, be they impact, like my deeds will be impactful or whatever. I'm just gonna write that down, but that's not what it'll be. But something to that effect is fascinating.
So is it stories of my deeds will live forever?
All right, that's fucking great, man. That's why you're the boss, not the boss, the storyteller. Oh,
And I want to be remembered. We'll find another wording. for
Yeah,
that.
sure.
Is that defining major, minor?
oof. Major for now. So yeah, because I just to come back to this, because I do have a few more and so
Sure,
on and so
of
forth.
course.
But like, this feels really important to me, because it's
It is
defining
important.
because it's a defining intimacy.
Yeah.
But I struggle a little bit with
I'm trying to give you a signpost that isn't I want to do cool shit.
yeah.
Of course you want to do cool
Of
shit.
course. No, absolutely. No, 100%. And yet, when I think of like previous characters I've played in Exalted, I had sort of like relatively defined goals for them right off the bat, and I do not here. So what I'm trying to do is kind of create major and defining intimacies that would cover the kinds of actions he would want to take and will help me when in game I am presented with, or when you present me with, hey, you could do this or that. I'm gonna go, okay, well, what are my intimacies say?
So in terms of
the
goals like
loudest.
that, this is an important thing. You actually, I know you have one because we've discussed it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if we're going to get into it right now because it kind of is allied with the other characters, right? We might, we'll see. But one of the things that we will discuss, because some of this depends on the other characters in the Chronicle, is that we want to make sure that your goal isn't necessarily the same as everybody else's, but that it's not incompatible with everybody else's.
Yeah.
Because that's where you run into a problem. If your goal is, I want to make sure that every motherfucker in the world knows exactly what I did, and another one is saying, anyone I associate with must always move in shadow and secret.
Whoops.
And if that's both your defining intimacies, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'm seeing here is, as a major, the reason why I want to be remembered, the reason why I think that's cool, and Stories of My Deeds will live forever, is that you're not satisfied with being like, we did this and we did it quietly and nobody is going to know, but at least it will help a lot of people. It has to be something where like, I kicked the door in, shit happened, even if I won't necessarily be remembered, even though I do, at least people will remember that something happened here.
Yeah.
And that's different than just, I want to do good things.
See, okay,
Or I want to do big things.
Thank you. This is where I was going. If I were to give an example, the Bureau of Heaven says you must make sure that such and such a young dynast does not come to power, because that is not destined.
That is not destined. Yeah.
Cool. Some people would go, great, I'm going to poison him in his sleep and he's going to die quietly, or I'm going to make him disappear, or I'm going to make sure that nobody remembers he existed in the first place. Blazing Chrome would say something to the effect of, I want to make sure he is blown up as publicly as possible, right? Like something that would stick in people's minds and have an impact. Yeah, exactly. Send a message. Send a message. That's a Netrunner card that I can quote. Exactly. Oh, man.
So is that something that you can put?
Yeah.
It's, well, gotta make sure I'm typing it in the actual sheet.
Hopefully, indeed, Alfarius. We'll see you soon, Alfarius. Yeah, man. It's important to send a message.
What's that? Defining major, minor?
Feels pretty major to me.
Because remember, it's also interesting where there will be moments where you will have to not do that.
Yeah.
And the trick is, just because it's written into your intimacies doesn't mean that this is like, I can't not do this. It will cause me struggle to not do this. Because there will definitely, like, you could get a mission one day that will say, you must do this quietly.
Yeah.
You cannot. And then that means that an enemy might be like sitting there and you're about to leave, and the enemy's just like, no one's ever going to know that this happened. And then that like stops you.
Yeah.
And there's that moment of like, fuck. And that's an interesting moment. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means that it might put you into a decision point. It might put you into a moment where you are forced to reckon with the fact that this is a value that you hold.
Yeah. And should
maybe
I
you're
continue
gonna have to go against it.
Yeah, and should I continue to hold that thing,
Yeah.
hold that principle? Absolutely. This is great. I'm adding these to my LCA right now so that I remember the phrasing, and we will continue to edit these as we go. Cool. Yeah. No, totally. And I think that's the important thing as well, is like, as you say, defining intimacy isn't, I mean, you will sometimes be forced to act against a defining intimacy, and it's not like you just explode. You have to enter decision point and so on and so forth, right?
Here's the hard part for defining, and this is something that I've come across in my time with Exalted, and it's an interesting problem for me. You could say my defining intimacy is I love my wife. Let's say,
Sure.
right? I love my wife, which means that your world revolves around the fact that you're with your wife. Then one day your wife dies.
Sure. Now, sadly, of course, this does happen every
course
day,
it does.
right? Like,
But that means that you put your entire life around that. Also, what happens if you're like, your defining intimacy is I love my wife, and then your wife betrays you?
yeah,
Okay, but like that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you can be like, well, I guess I don't love my wife anymore. That's your defining intimacy.
Yeah.
The whole world is around the fact that you love your
Absolutely.
wife. And it doesn't mean that you can't change it, but it means that it's gonna fuck you up. Whereas
Yeah.
if, say, you had a major intimacy that's I love my wife, which I think is quite reasonable, it does mean that, for instance, if your wife betrays you, then that isn't necessarily a like my entire world is no longer carries any meaning whatsoever, but it is going to rock your world. Even a minor
Yeah.
intimacy is important enough that it's going to cause you pain. It will cause you distinct pain.
yeah,
But the thing is, it's very romantic to say my defining intimacy is my love for my wife, husband, sibling, although I would hope that would be a platonic love.
sure, yeah.
But the issue is that maybe that's not your defining intimacy. Maybe your defining intimacy is your career. Maybe your defining intimacy is like every day I need to learn something new. And that doesn't mean you don't love your wife or your husband or whoever.
sure.
It doesn't mean that they're not incredibly important to you. It just means that that's not the thing that you've defined your entire world around. I think that it's actually probably healthy for a lot, not all couples, but for a lot of couples to not have your defining intimacy be this other person. Because then it might mean that like you would quit your job if you were like, oh man, I'm not spending enough time with my husband. Well, I work full time. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm quitting my job so that I can spend more time with my husband. Like, maybe that's not what you want to do. Maybe it is. Depends.
One of the great paradoxes, I think, of being human is that, you know, we naturally make relationships with people, places, things, ideas outside of us, but that the only real constant in your life is you. I think is kind of what you're saying, right? So your defining intimacy will probably always be something other than yourself, and that thing can therefore change, which is like kind of crazy.
But it could not. Because also, your defining intimacy could be look out for number one.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And then
yeah,
one day you might realize that that's a really bad way to go through life. Or not.
No, or not, maybe.
So that's kind of the thing. That's always why I love to like drilling deep into what a defining or a major or a minor is. Because if it's a defining, what happens when that is taken away from you?
Yeah,
And how fucked up is that going to make you?
yeah.
Or what is a situation in which somebody is like, I am literally going to kill your best friend right here,
Gasp.
but your defining intimacy is like, I would let him die if it means that this other thing can happen.
Yeah.
And those are the important things, because if your friend is truly your friend might be like, he wouldn't save me for this. And I accept
So sad.
that,
So
and like,
sad.
that's okay. Like, I understand, and I would die to help him because this is that important to him. But maybe that's the drama here.
Pretty nice. I really appreciate breaking it down this way, John, because like, you know, as we way back when we started this discussion about intimacies, this feels defining to Blazing Chrome and to who he is and what he wants. Because true to the character concept that I had sort of like thought of ages ago as well, like it is not a really philosophical, out there, conceptual idea. It's something. It's what he can do moment to moment, right? It's like action based.
Yeah.
This feels important to me.
Great.
I'll
some other
give you a
intimacies?
few more. How's this for a major intimacy? Life is for living. I.e., like,
Not life is for the living.
no, life is to be lived. Life is for living. So
Seize the day.
seize the day.
Carpe diem.
Carpe diem, if you will. I extend this to things like, you know, trying new things, carousing, partying, taking opportunities where they come at you, right? As opposed to being like, well, maybe tomorrow. I had a couple more minor principles that I've written
throw 'em down.
Conflict. What I've written is conflict is the fire that forges a soul. Wife procuring tail feathers. Incredible. Love that.
So the way that I would see this one come into play would be the equivalent of if somebody's like, we should just avoid conflict, you might be like, nah, it's good for you. Builds character.
Yeah.
So you're
And-
Calvin's dad.
Basically, and if some little poor meek, kid came to me and was just like, Mr. Chrome, what do you think I should do? I'd be like, get in a fight, Get in a fight, challenge yourself. Conflict.
Okay.
This phrasing brought to you by the Queen of Intimacy Phrasing, Elizabeth Neal. I've never met a bar I couldn't fight. Which I just think is the best phrasing I've ever heard. See, the thing, what does it even mean? It means I can't walk into a bar without it being like a place for challenges, is how I would choose to phrase. I just like the phrase, John. I just think it's fun.
No, that works.
Yeah. In terms of ties, we're not going to talk about the other PCs.
We're not talking about the other PCs today, no.
And if, as Gil asked earlier, and as Liz already answered, thank you, we will have secrets to our characters.
Yep.
Which will probably be reflected as intimacies. They could be reflected as merits or whatever.
I have instructed every player that you must have at least one secret that the other players don't know about.
Ooh.
But it will be an intimacy that's on your sheet that is blanked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and to answer Gil's thought here, so I haven't defined this person as of yet, but as I kind of mentioned earlier in the character creation, I think if Blazing Chrome has martial arts 5, it's safe to say that part of his training as a chosen of battles in Yushan was training in martial arts. That could have been something he started learning because martial arts schools exist or whatever, but I imagine it took a natural aptitude and turned it into an actual fighting style. So whoever that battle's mentor is, because I don't know who that would be other than a fellow Sidereal, but I would see what I'd like to propose as a story hook for you, John, or a pitch, is that Blazing Chrome has a major intimacy towards this mentor of respect because of how much they've taught them, but also a minor intimacy of disdain for having witnessed them be corrupt in one way or another.
So it's the same person.
It's the same person.
All right, so we're going to call this mentor for now.
Yeah.
We're going to say that it's respect, and this is a major?
Yeah.
And then same mentor.
Yeah.
And then disdain.
Yeah.
Corruption. And that's a minor. Okay.
And then I think I just have one more thing on the list if we want to just round this out. Again, this there will be hundreds, I'm sure, at some point. Just because it brings into chat what Grey Duck is saying here, what Requiem is saying.
Yep.
I had imagined that pre-exaltation, Blazing Chrome ran with a crew of ruffians from Wujian. I'm not going to say that right every time. So, yeah, Wujian ruffians would be, he's protective of them. They don't remember him. Of course not. That's not how Arcane Fate works. But
we'll come up with a name for these ruffians, like a specific kind of street gang level.
But that he goes to check in on them every once in a while and be like, are they doing okay?
So these are like street level toughs.
Yeah.
Like a child gang.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like 5-year-olds or anything, but like they're youths.
Yeah.
And they're
the tunnel snakes from Fallout 3.
Yeah. Are they like, well, we're not necessarily only talking petty crime, but like they're yeah, but they're of the criminal underworld in Wujian, trying to, eke out a living, and you feel protected with them because you used to run with them.
Yes. I also would even see them as almost a surrogate family. Maybe even not a real family, like a...
You gave birth to every member of the
Every
ruffians.
single one of them is my secret child.
Wujian is a city, Noxumbra. It's in fact going to be the initial focal point of the setting. Obviously, the focal point's actually the ship, but the ship will launch from Wujian. It's an island that's kind of directly into the largest sort of body of water in creation that sort of necessitates the communication and transfer of goods from the Western Archipelago, the North, the South, the East. Like, it's sort of the main sort of focal point, especially because the world streams are no longer functioning and ship travel is gone up quite a bit in terms of premium. Oh, we're making a Wu-Tang plant.
But
I'm sorry.
I also find the city to be a really cool space in terms of economic kind of divisions. A lot of people live in slums. The city is essentially ruled by gangs and criminal elements because any attempt at an organized government or like realm rule can't really penetrate into the slums as they exist.
Right.
Which is just so underworld, real world, exactly.
So here's what I've got from your Intimacies right now.
Okay.
Here's the picture that I'm getting. You've got your exaltation was incredibly important to you because now all of a sudden you have the ability to do things that you never could before, but you now also suffer from the fact that people cannot remember you. That's not to say that you might not have had stories of my deeds will live forever before you exalted. Sure. That could have been there before, but to me, it's probably more likely to have been reinforced now that you actually have the power in which to do that in an easier fashion. But that's something that you can consider and think about. The idea that you have these ties to existing people, very important. The ruffians, I think that's a really cool thing. The idea that you have a soft spot, not just for these particular person, but perhaps for anybody who's just struggling.
Yeah.
On the struggle, but hustling. You have a soft spot for hustlers. You have a soft spot for people who may not have been born with privilege, but who are going to take whatever they can get. Mm-hmm. I see that you have somebody for whom you have conflicting intimacies. Somebody who taught you a lot of what you know, somebody who helped define the person who you are now, but also somebody who betrayed your trust. Yeah. Somebody who has fallen prey to corruption, and so therefore you know this about them, but have you made a decision about what you're going to do about it? Yeah. Maybe you can't do anything about it. Maybe not right now, maybe later. Maybe there's still a question of, is it so bad? I don't like it, but maybe I have more to learn. Maybe you are trying to turn a blind eye to it, and then it keeps you up at night sometimes. Right? These are all things that potentially could be a mark for that.
Yeah, absolutely. What isn't on the sheet, sorry to interrupt, what isn't on the sheet, of course, in terms of intimacies is the ship, the other PCs, the sort of major NPCs that we might encounter shortly. And that is, I think, I know kind of what I would like to do, but I want to see it in play. Right. Before I really define that for myself. Yep. I want to make sure it makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense there. So the thing that I want you to think about for your intimacies going forward, number one, just make sure that you've got that defining intimacy. Yeah. That it's worded the way that you like it, and that it's something that also sets you apart. Just make sure that your defining intimacy doesn't lean too close to, I want to be cool. Because, actually, I want to be cool is actually a cool one, because then it's specifically, I want other people to look up to me and think that I'm rad. But if it's just, I want to do big things.
I want to do big things. Yeah.
Yeah. Every Exalted basically has that as a defining intimacy.
Totally valid.
So you need to find a way to make sure that that's distinct.
Yeah.
You also have the other people in your circle.
Yeah.
We will get to that. I mean, I know that you already have stuff written down here. We're just in an effort to make sure that they can have their own character creation sessions. We're going to skip over that for now. There's other things that you can think of. Obviously, I don't want you to come into the game with 50 intimacies, because I think a lot of these you're going to discover in play. Yeah. And when you're in play, I think that there's also some of these that might drop.
True.
Right? One of the things that we do here is that we have a nominal, you have 3 sessions before your character sheet locks, but in reality, it never locks. If somebody came up to me in session 50 and was like, yeah, I bought this charm a million years ago, and now I realize it kind of doesn't do exactly what I want it to, and I hate it, I don't have a problem with changing it. Now, obviously, if it's a charm that other things have depended on, we'd figure it out. But even things like your intimacies can change whenever. So let's just make sure that the intimacies that we have here once we get to that certain point, are intimacies that you enjoy and that you want to keep.
Yeah.
Because not only do we want to keep them, we also have to determine whether you ever had them in the first place.
Pre-exaltation, you mean?
Yes, because if I just mean if you, for instance, if one of the intimacies that you have on here right now is conflict is the fire that forges the soul, and then one day you're like, I don't really know if that intimacy really applies, I'm going to change it. Well, is it that Blazing Chrome lost that intimacy?
Yeah.
Or is it that
yeah.
you kind of never should have had it in the first place?
Yeah.
That's the thing, because knowing something that used to be an intimacy that has since fallen off is still a part of your character, even if it no longer can be used against you, right? The idea that somebody's like, man, you used to be somebody who always thought that fights was a cool thing to do, and now you're all goody two-shoes, versus he's never really been the sort of person to start a fight, but he'll end one.
Sure. Totally.
Because I don't get the I don't start fights from this character. I gotta say, that is not the thing that's screaming at me.
No, I would almost venture so far as to say that's kind of the whole character concept, actually, where it started anyway. I think the balance for me, John, of course, is like, I you know me, I'm not gonna ever try to game the RPG in the sense of like, oops, I've dropped this major intimacy from my character sheet, but it's been important in social combat before. Like,
even if it was important in social combat before, it just means the difference between it no longer matters to you and a retcon.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And I do not mind retconning if it means that everybody at the table is going to be happier. And that's something that I think is a lesson that I would try to put out there for everybody here. There is definitely a difference between somebody wanting to change something because they're trying to gain an advantage in the mechanics of the game, and somebody trying to change something because it means that they'll enjoy the game more.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the same, but you really got to consider, is it really going to hurt to let these changes happen? Because I would venture to say that most of the time the answer is no. Especially, for instance, I was in a D&D game once a million years ago, where somebody had a pretty crappy build and the other players at the table had a pretty good build. And this player was like, well, I'm just not nearly as good at combat as everybody else, because they had made some substandard choices about like where to put their ability scores, what kind of weapons they would wield, that sort of thing. And then asked, can I change my character? And the DM said, no, you can make a new character, but you can't change the character you have now, because otherwise you're just changing your character to be better. And I was like, but he sucks. Like, the character is bad and everybody else at the table is doing all the work.
It sucks.
And this character is just like, I'm here, but I'm not doing as much
guys.
as everybody else. And that wasn't fun for this guy. So why not let him change it and then still get to keep the player in the history that's accumulated? And the DM was just like, no, because if I make that change, the other players will want to make their changes to min-max too. And I'm like, it's not min-maxing if he's just like, I suck compared to everyone else.
I think that's, and this comes back to something you talked about ages ago on Clinic Hours, right? Like, player types, where people get their fun in role playing, right?
Yeah.
Having a good time and also trying to win those can be the same depending on who you are, but like those can be very separate as well. And I think it's good to, you're right, if you're running a game in particular, it's great to recognize that difference in the players.
Now we got 15 minutes left, Scott.
Whoa.
Let's take a look at the character sheet that you've constructed, which of course is not fully complete, right? We haven't written down all of your charms and all that, but let's take a look and see if there's anything that we are reconsidering or not. So,
Wow.
actually, we might as well just scroll right up in here. So, number 1, your concept of a brash pirate type character right there, Blazing Chrome, a chosen of battles, born under Crow, exalted under shield. If we look at your attributes, dealing with a primary in terms of your physicals, 4 strength, 4 dex, 3 stamina. Your attributes, going on to your socials, charisma 4, manipulation 3, appearance 2. And then your mentals, perception 2, intelligence 1, but wits 4.
Incredible.
Faction. Do you want to talk about where you're leaning?
Oh, for sidereal factions? Yeah. I think the anti-establishment take definitely leaned me towards gold faction. Which means, will I have an intimacy towards, as was asked, other sidereals, factions in heaven, etc.? Yes, I imagine so. But I imagine that it's less of a wholehearted allegiance and more of a, you know what, I've seen
You've seen the establishment,
and I don't like it. Exactly. Thank you.
and that's fine. Like, remember, the other thing about the allegiances here is that they're fluid.
Yeah.
Right. You don't kind of declare in one, and that's all you can ever be. But also, there isn't a need to like have backing in the gold faction, because most sidereals don't actually have backing in either bronze or gold. They just are. Right. It's only if you are very specifically identified as like, that's the leader of the gold faction, in which case you would have backing there, but you don't. If we look at your abilities, right now you are pretty strong in martial arts, brawl, resistance, so you are beat stick. You still have others that you are important, that you've decided are important to you, like integrity, larceny, resistance, ride, and sail.
Yeah.
You have spent 10 of your bonus points here in abilities so far. In terms of your merits, a couple of these things were free for you. Your resources, your backing, and your martial arts. You have a 1-dot digital parrot, direction sense, strong lungs, fast reflexes, and pain tolerance. Your willpower is sitting at 5, which is the base for you. You will have, I know that you have 15 charms that you've picked out, although I know that some of them are still variable, and that you might, especially if you decide that Steel Devil Style is something that you want to keep, or if you want to move on to something else. Somebody was mentioning an infernal martial art, which has to do with being a pirate.
I saw that, and I need to find it now.
Yep.
Because I want to look at it. Make sure it works.
So
Seems
that's a
interesting.
thing. And a bunch of intimacies, which means you have 5 bonus points left to spend.
Hooray.
Here are some ways in which you can spend them.
Ooh.
You can boost an attribute, as you said before. Boosting an attribute will cost 4 if it's your 4 if it's your physical or your social, 3 if it's your mentals. You can buy more abilities. You've already spent 10, why not more?
All 15, let's go.
You can buy specialties, although I'd argue that's not really an effective way to spend your bonus points at this time. You can buy merits, specifically the merits that you are lacking right now. You do not have an artifact, you do not have a manse, you do not have a hearthstone. You are not required to have any of these things. They're things to consider. You could buy charms. I generally recommend that no player buys any charm using bonus points. It's the least efficient way to spend your bonus points. Experience is way stronger in order to buy those. However, you can, if you need to. You don't need spells.
Nope. Willpower.
You're not a sorcerer.
Willpower. I could boost willpower.
You can buy evocations if you get an artifact, although again, I would recommend that you not. Although you can take fewer charms and buy an evocation instead.
I see. Okay.
You can do that.
Cool.
And then willpower.
Yeah. I given how much I struggled reducing to 15 charms already, and how much I'm already going, actually, I think there's this other one that I don't think that's
we
gonna
might
be
as well
one.
put your limit trigger in here. You did pick one.
Hilariously, I picked 2, but not sorry. I was like an either or situation, but what I'm leaning towards, I'll read it to you. Blazing Chrome's progress is halted by overly restrictive regulations.
So that's the one you're going for?
Yeah, that feels
Okay, so
to me. Yeah, thank you. A limit trigger is a character-specific situation where if you encounter it, you have to roll to see if you gain limit. You can also gain limit, as was mentioned earlier, by other things like, say, refusing a defining intimacy or whatever. I have to look at all the other situations. If you ever hit 10 limit, you enter limit break, which is bad news.
Limit break,
That's it. That's bad
limit
news.
break basically
It's
is
bad
an
news.
effect of the great curse that all exalted labor under, and it can make you into a dick.
In the core, there are solar specific ones. In the Sidereal book, there's Sidereal specific ones.
Yes.
But it's essentially you either act really far out of character or so far in character that you
enter celestial hubris is in fact what they call it.
celestial hubris. What a great term.
It's not limit break, it's celestial hubris.
Yeah.
But these are things. A celestial hubris counts as a defining intimacy while it's active.
Right.
It can last a scene or a session. Once it ends, your limit resets to 0 and your temporary willpower resets to your permanent willpower because it's cathartic. But these are things like, for instance, conspiracy of silence. You believe that some significant information has to be kept secret from everybody she knows. Doomsayer's warning. You fixate on a calamity you believe will befall her and those who matter to her unless they abandon an agenda, plan, perspective, or location.
Okay.
It could be something like, surrounded by fools. I believe my allies, peers, superiors, and subordinates are short-sighted incompetents, incapable of being trusted with even the least of tasks. It could be skewed priorities. You believe that one of your personal goals is vital to destiny and the good of creation, and even if her ambition is in outright opposition to the heavenly agenda, you believe that that's the result of corruption, mismanagement, and incompetence, and so therefore, you just got to do only what you think is right, no matter what anyone else tells you ever. Right?
Incredible.
Because they're defining intimacies all of a sudden. So celestial hubris is a deal.
Absolutely.
Yes, and sometimes you're right, Aragorn. Sometimes breaking is a survival strategy because you refill your willpower, and it can kind of focus you on a specific thing. So you have 5 bonus points remaining. What were some things that you were thinking that you might want to buy?
With bonus point, or just like generally?
What were the things?
I mean, we've definitely been over them already. Strength 5 was one that I thought about, which I originally had on my sheet.
Okay. That would cost you
4 bonus points. It's a lot of bonus points.
Yeah.
An artifact, cause it's cool.
What kind of artifact?
Oh man.
A weapon specifically?
Yeah, it would be. I mean, I'm tempted to not say diclaves because fires had dual diclaves. They're different, but like whatever the equivalent of them is, and then if they are perhaps body modifications, I'm not sure what that would look like.
Which they could be.
Yeah, they could be, and I just think that like the stats granted by an artifact weapon are very good.
Yes. So an artifact weapon is typically 3 dots or more.
Okay. Which is, you know.
So are those the 2 things that you're kind of balanced between?
Yeah.
Willpower, no?
I just don't
that's
see it
fine.
for me.
So in this case, what I can recommend, you are currently, assuming that you get a 3-dot artifact, you're currently 2 bonus points over. Take 2 abilities out and you're there.
No problem, right? Yeah. Or a merit and an ability, because I think we were talking about direction sense.
It could be a merit. Like direction sense, you could take out and 1 ability.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could also sacrifice like fast reflexes.
Yeah,
if
that's
you
true.
Wanted, or pain tolerance.
Yeah. I don't know if we went over those for the
fast reflexes means that you get an extra success added to your joint battles. Essentially, you get +1.
Yeah.
And your pain tolerance means that you suffer 1 less die penalty for your -2s and your -4s.
Yeah, wound penalties become less extreme, which I think, which also just feels really nice. Yeah.
And Grey Duck is correct.
Yeah.
You are correct that they do not have to be diclaves specifically.
Because what I was imagining originally was like big kind of chopping blades, right? Like, so I'm not sure what that would look like.
So my recommendation is this.
Yeah.
If these are things that you want, it's a relatively easy thing to kill, like say, direction sense and 1 other thing, or 2 abilities. You have abilities. It's also the experience cost to boost an ability from 1 to 2 is so small.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
It's just it's worth it to do it for this.
Mm-hmm.
However, lock in your martial art.
Yeah, because
if you've decided at one point that you're not going to go with Steel Devil style and you're going to go with something else, well, those are different form weapons. You might choose a different weapon. You might not choose a weapon at all.
That's true.
If it's like unarmed only. Or maybe you'll choose a weapon, choose a piece of armor instead, right? Like you have a breastplate instead or something like that. So I would recommend that you just look at the martial arts, make sure that Steel Devil is the one you want. I think it's a great martial art.
Yeah.
Fantastic, but there are others that you could consider. Figure out whether or not the weapon is correct, then start working with me as to what kind of weapon that looks like and what avocations it could have.
Mm-hmm.
There are examples in the books.
Or armor, as you say.
Yeah, or armor. Just remember, as a sidereal, you are resonant with star metal, and you are dissonant with every other magical material.
Okay.
What this means is that there are some evocations which you just can't take if it's made of orichalcum or soul steel or something like that. Or You just lose access to some of those abilities. It doesn't mean you can't use it. It doesn't mean you can't have that as an artifact. It just means that like,
Yeah.
you just can't. Whereas because you're resonant with Star Metal, it means that you can take full advantage of that artifact. Whereas other Exalted might not be able to because they don't have resonance with Star Metal.
Cool. Okay. So if I'm looking at, say, Arms of the Chosen, maybe that's something to focus on.
Yep. So those are the recommendations that I would make for you in terms of this. And that's where I would say your character seems to be coming along well.
Yeah.
We've got a good idea of who he is and what he's doing. It'll be interesting to see how that matches up with the other player characters that we have in the hopper.
Yeah, and I want, like, I think, you know, for me, other than moving dots around and making sure I have kind of the characters, like, mechanics, I also, as a quick tangent, I need to make sure that I don't remove dots from an ability that's a prerequisite for a charm that I want to take, etc., etc. That's fine.
Yep.
But, like, to me, what's most important on the sheet, other than dots to roll dice, is Intimacies, because they are a reflection of how I want to play the character. And how I want to play the character and how the character is played is more important than what's on the sheet, but I do want to make sure the Intimacies reflect that reality.
Yep. But don't be bound by your Intimacies. They can change if we need to.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Scott, what's happening this week?
Whoa, this week, what day is it, John? It's Sunday? There is a good possibility that I will be streaming Tuesday night. I stream in character. I stream in Resplendent Destiny on Tuesday nights on my Twitch channel, Biff the Boss. I believe Road to Empress is a FMV that I hear is pretty good. Huge production value, and you love to see that. We should see if the Emperor Scotimius can help someone survive the road to becoming Empress. That's Tuesday. I don't know if you have any plans to stream this week, John.
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. It's on the Discord. That's the best place. Friday night, typically. Friday night, Punchy. That's we're playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and it's awesome. Saturday, I just started playing the new Arkham Horror card game campaign, fresh out of the core set with cards. It's a lot of fun. Join me for that. It's at 11 a.m. Eastern on Saturday. Drew Crew, 3 p.m. again on Saturday. And Sunday, right back here on RPG Clinic's YouTube channel,
It'll be Kate.
You can catch another character creation session for Exalted Datafall.
And I'm sure there'll be more questions about Datafall itself, how we are engineering an Exalted campaign in a cyberpunk universe. Remember that you can always ask questions on the Discord. We have a Datafall channel specifically for it, but our patrons have had early access to the campaign frame. So if you are a patron, and honestly, we love you for it if you are.
Thank you all.
What I would recommend that you do is you can become a patron. You'll get access to those right away.
Hooray.
And are the credits going to run? Yes, they are.
Ah, it's the ticket. Kate Hype. Yes. Mucho hypito.
Our thanks to our patrons to make sure that we are able to continue doing this the way that we are doing. It's the fact that we have these equipments, the fact that we can buy these massive tomes that we hit each other with. It's all thanks to you. We really do appreciate it. Scott, cool character.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that. Cool campaign frame that we were all developing together. Honestly, like I said it before we started streaming. I'm very hype. I'm very hyped for this campaign.
Yeah. Pinky Pact is indeed
Thank
on
you.
in 1 hour from now over on twitch.tv/PinkyPact. Go watch some cool ass D&D with some cool ass people doing some cool ass stuff.
Do the trials continue, Aragwen? I'm not sure where you got to exactly, but please do. Please let me know. And hopefully y'all can join us next week for another character creation session. I'll be tuning in. And hopefully Kate doesn't say her secret on stream. Secret
I mean,
stuff.
you didn't say your secret on stream.
I didn't.
How about that?
How about that?
Folks, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Thanks again to Aragwen and Kung Fu Fenris for moderating here. We are headed that way.
See y'all later.
See you next time.
Blazing Crow Datafall. Bye.